You just got weaseled. We are building a weasel army, all right?
All right, we'll start off right here.
Conservatives.
Is, anti-crime.
Okay, so his first proposition, since I didn't play it, is the idea that Donald Trump is a pro-crime candidate and is pro-criminal. Obviously, he's talking about January 6th and probably also talking about Donald Trump's own crimes, of which there are many, some of which he was convicted for. I think 91 counts he's been convicted for. A lot of the counts he would have been convicted for had it not been for our fucked up system of justice, Merrick Garland's absolute just cowardice, and then in the middle of the fucking 2 years he allows charges to go forward, right? It's just like, I'm sorry, like it's so frustrating. It's so frustrating, right? But Donald Trump himself is a criminal, and Donald Trump has pardoned many criminals who have in his mind, on his behalf committed crimes, right? In fact, this is a big thing that people, since we don't know the identities of ICE agents, there's every chance that either some of the people they deputized or some of the people that are working as ICE agents are either Gen 6ers, Proud Boys, 3%ers, other people who would have been, just had too dirty of criminal records to be able to function as ICE. All right, let's. Are we so far so good though? Red tie guy, whole vibe. Oh god, red tie guys in general. When they're wearing that red tie, it's to look like Trump. Can you pitch the audio up or down? I can't. I'm limited. I probably just need to download more VSTs, right? And then I'd be able to pitch it up or down. I'm just limited. They don't give me anything good, right? What I need is a reverb or reverb would probably be the ticket, but they don't have reverb in this set. Let's go. Let's try this.
Welcome.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. I'm Medhi.
I would just like to ask, what makes someone pro-crime versus, anti-crime?
I think when you're soft on criminals, when you let criminals out of prison, when you pardon people who've assaulted police officers, you're pro-criminal. Donald Trump pardoned almost 1,600 people who were involved in January the 6th. I think 600 of them had been charged with assaulting a police officer or obstructing a police officer. 170 had pled guilty to assaulting a police officer. 70 had pled guilty to assault with a deadly weapon. J.D. Vance said, we're not going to pardon the violent criminals from January 6th. Donald Trump pardoned all of them. Are you okay with that?
I would say January 6th is a very special case. I would say
January 6th was a very special time and place. All right. Yeah, Jan 6 in 2020 was a very special time and place to be. Maybe it meant something, maybe not. In the long run, but no explanation, no mix of words or music or memories can touch the sense of knowing that you were there and alive in that place and time. In that corner of the time, in that corner of time and the world, whatever it meant. Sorry, that was actually Hunter S. Thompson.
it's almost a climax.
Sorry, yeah, 2021.
Point in history. I would just prefer
A climax point in history. Libidinal, chat, is a word that often gets associated with the MAGA movement, with Trump himself and with his fans. And I think we're seeing that. Like he's talking about January 6th like it's an orgasm.
phrase the question this way. Right now in the LA protests, if they were to, just for example, they were to rush the capital of LA, I mean,
I love all these hypotheticals, right? Because they'll take things like, well, there were protesters at a public building in Portland. Isn't that the same as January 6th? Yeah, and if the protesters broke the law, they got arrested. And definitely, chat, if the protesters were stomping on cops' heads, then yeah, even if the police were overwhelmed, chat, they would have taken that video, they would have figured out who did the crimes, who did the assault on police, and they would have locked them the fuck up. Chat, you had somebody during the Portland protests literally be extrajudicially executed, right? You had somebody get killed by federal agents for his actions, not against cops, not against federal officials, but against a fucking Patriot Prayer member who was in the back of a truck shooting people with frozen paintball pellets, right? And from what he said, putting people's lives in danger. We don't actually know what that situation was, because that man never got to go to trial. He was killed by Trump's goons. So that the real circumstances of what happened there, whether he actually was using his gun in self-defense or to protect people, we'll never know. But yeah, nothing even close to the absolute, like, brutality towards police officers would have even been possible to happen in any of the BLM protests, right? That they'll always cite, well, the BLM protests, they were burning down the city, they were burning down all of Portland, they were doing this, they were doing that. Bull fucking shit.
They'd have to move over all the homeless people living in tents on the steps of the Capitol. But if they were managed to get into the Capitol and they were just protesting, peacefully, let's say police.
I love these assholes. Sorry, chat, I'm pausing it too much, but like these assholes that don't live in Los Angeles, that don't live in New York, they're imagining what it's like. Oh yeah, well obviously there's tents on the Capitol steps because everywhere in LA is covered in tents and sleeping bags and people laying on the ground in some kind of fentanyl inebriation, right? They just make these assumptions. Yeah, crime everywhere. You walk out, you get robbed. You step in human shit. I don't know. How do they know this shit when they've never been to these cities? They're afraid to go, but they're sure. No, I heard it on Fox News. Okay, keep on trusting Jesse fucking Waters.
Police officers were rushing them in. They were letting them in and saying, hey, you guys can go in. Like we have many testimonies that say.
What about the violent ones, though?
Okay, violent ones like
a man named David Dempsey, a judge, a Reagan-appointed judge, sentenced to 20 years in prison. He stomped on police officers' heads. The judge said his conduct was exceptionally egregious.
Hey, what is this? David Dempsey was sentenced to 20 years in prison by a felony for felony counts of assaulting, resisting arrest, and impeding officers with a deadly or dangerous weapon.
He attacked police officers with flagpoles and pepper spray. Donald Trump pardoned him. There's a man named Daniel Rodriguez. He got 12 years in prison for taking a stun gun and tasing a police officer in the neck and giving him a heart attack. The judge said he was a one-man army of hate. Donald Trump pardoned him. Does that not make Trump pro-criminal? He's letting violent criminals out of prison.
I would say no, it doesn't make him pro-criminal.
You're okay with that?
I did not say that. I said that one pardon against somebody.
It was 1,600 pardons. 600 of those were people charged
one
with...
example that you just gave me.
I can give you more. Should I keep going?
Fine. And I'll say the exact same thing every single time.
Do you see what his line of reason is here? And chat, I got a question. Like, how many of us, or Americans, right? How many of our logic circuits are just absolutely cooked like this? Do you see what he's doing? He's like, well, one incident does not constitute a pattern of criminality. Therefore, when you bring up one specific incident, right? Case in point, here's the time. Well, that was just one, right? And then Medhi's like, actually, there's 1,600 more. And he's like, yeah, and each one of those is also just one. We take it down and we consider them one and one and one and one. And since one thing is not a pattern, Therefore, Donald Trump does not have a pattern of criminality. Even though if you count them instead of as 1 and 1 and 1 and 1 as 1,600, what is that other than a pattern of criminality? His brain is cooked, chat. This guy has put his fucking head in the microwave. It's pudding, chat. It's fucking... This should scare you. This should fucking scare you. It scares me.
Argument will fall apart because it's not just one example. If I keep going,
yeah, exactly, Sivian, and they're not applying that logic to their complaints about LA, New York, or Portland, or any of the protests, or it only takes one what is it called, like a oh my god. Incident. It takes one incident. It takes one anecdote. Yeah, to prove whatever they want to prove in their motivated reasoning. Like, this is the whole thing. They're just like, there's not a thought there of like, is my reason motivated? Is it very clear that I am twisting and turning and doing mental gymnastics to protect my dear leader, which should be embarrassing to you because it shows you as being a fucking disingenuous fascist, right? And it's not even a thought there. They're like, no. The mental gymnastics is good. The mental gymnastics is impressive. That is logic. Sophistry is now logic. Sophistry is laudable. Sophistry deserves praise. That's amazing. That's amazing what you did. Take that incident, after bitching about people fighting back against cops, like what, throwing back a flashbang grenades, throwing back a gas canister or something like that. Oh, they're fighting the police. Oh, that's very bad. Oh, why are they not arrested immediately? It must be because Biden. It must be, God, it wouldn't have even been Biden. We're talking before Biden, right? The cops are liberals. I don't know what your fucking explanation is for that, but then you see somebody literally trying to kill and fucking curb stomp, it sounds like, a cop. And they're like, no, that's, no, because one of the cops said it was okay to go inside. One of the cops who was under threat of having their life taken relented and said, do whatever you want, just don't kill me. And you're like, yeah, the cops said come in. They said come in. They never would have gone in without the cop. They were fucking killing the cops to get in, right? Because the cops were in their way. What the fuck kind of logic is this? Oh my god, chat. Already, my fucking voice is cooked.
Go for it then.
Okay, Shane Jenkins got 7 years in prison for 9 criminal offenses: attacking police with a deadly weapon, destroying government property.
How do pardons that probably shouldn't have happened turn into pro-crime?
So you've agreed that they shouldn't have been pardoned?
Sure, but
yeah, there were pardons and they shouldn't have happened. They happened. He said the pardons happened. Is that somehow like Trump just didn't notice that somebody put something in front of him and he signed? Oh, was that a pardon? Did a pardon happen? Oops. I'm sorry. A pardon happened. Well, look, nobody's perfect. All right. Nobody's perfect. All right. Trump does his best. He's a law and order candidate, but yeah, maybe some pardons happened. That's really unfortunate. They don't fucking happen. He signs them. He purposefully signed. He campaigned on signing them, and then he fucking did it. He did what he said he was going to do. And you're all like, that was a little mistake, a little bit of a, maybe the auto pen, did the auto pen go nuts and start signing shit itself? What are you fucking talking about?
But that wasn't your claim, was January 6th. Your claim was Trump is pro-crime.
Yeah, because he pardons criminals.
Okay, I would say that's a fault.
Let's talk about non-January 6 people.
Okay.
He's pardoned people like Paul Walchuk recently, who took millions of dollars from his own employees, was sentenced to tax crimes, had
to buy a yacht, chat. This guy bought a yacht. He didn't pay his employees, right? Wage theft is, I think, what they would call this. He was convicted on it, and the judge said, listen, and this is, I know most of the time for this kind of shit, the perpetrator does not get a stiff criminal penalty. But because of how bad this is, I'm going to make sure you do some time in jail. And that just got taken away. And also, he was going to have to pay back his victims. So the people whose wages he stole to buy his fucking yacht, he was going to have to give them the money that he owes them as part of the sentence, right? That went away. Trump did a pardon that made somebody who stole people's wages. In other words, they worked and they didn't get paid. And the judge said, you have to pay them. And Trump said, oh, pardon. No, you don't. Keep the money, keep the yacht, live big, vote Trump. That's what happened.
To pay back $4 million. Trump pardoned him. He bought himself a $2 million yacht. Why is he pardoning criminals like that?
Well, I don't know. I don't think you should. I don't think really presidential pardon should be a thing at all. But I don't.
So do you see these? I'm so afraid of any sound, chat. But I think that so you see these red flags getting raised. This is not, believe it or not, this is not the Red Guard or anything. This is they raised the flags, I think, to say that this guy's not doing well, and we should bring on somebody else, right? But de facto, what it becomes in this case is their arguments are getting cooked, right? When they're raising the red flags, they're like, this doesn't look good. This is bad for the movement. This is like, we're getting exposed, is what they're essentially saying. But yeah, when enough of them raise the red flag, I think then his time is over. Somebody else goes up. So that's what's going on here.
I agree.
I don't think that.
All right, pause.
That means something.
You've been voted out by the majority. Please return to your seat.
Thanks.
Isn't that wild, chat? Like, can you imagine? Like, I don't know. I'm trying to think of let's say you're in a courtroom or something like that, and you got people sitting at the defendant's desk and people sitting at the plaintiff's or the prosecution desk, and as the prosecutor is talking, people at the prosecution desk like raise flags and raise flags and raise flags, and like when they think he's not making a good argument, or he's getting in his own way, or he's saying something that's actually going to help the other side, they can shut him up they can like pull him back. Let's get another prosecutor out there. All right, you try now. Red flag, or the, like it's crazy. It's crazy. This is, but this is just the format of Surrounded. See, I'm so worried about those sounds. I feel like those sounds are what's going to get me like in trouble. I don't know. Like, I'm just trying to figure out how their mechanism like works. How their content detection shit works, and I'm just like, I don't know. Maybe they copyright the sounds, like, right? Maybe it's like the assets.
How's it going?
Hey, how's it going, Medhi?
What is it?
Medhi.
You're from Northern UK?
Medhi, the guy that you signed up to talk to, when you agreed to be on the show, right? That the word that was on there as the person that you're gonna surround, the person you're gonna debate against, was that's how that's pronounced, right? So since you read it and never really knew how to say it, there's the correct pronunciation for you.
I guess.
I'm from London, North London.
Okay, fair enough. What's your ethnic background, if you don't mind my asking?
My parents are from India.
What's your ethnic background? You don't seem like you're from around here. Are y'all from around? Why are you in America? Why are you allowed to be in America with black? You don't have white skin that you're. Oh my God, this guy.
Perfect. Just getting premise here. First of all, I want to say
The premise of Donald Trump being pro-crime.
No. I want to concern myself with why you care about what's happening in the U.S. first and foremost. Secondly, I want to say this.
Yeah, why do you even care what's going on in the U.S.? Maybe because I'm living here? Why do you care what's going? He's got more right to care than anybody there. Chat, him having brown skin means that he could literally be arrested by ICE for nothing, even though all his paperwork is in order, even though all of his citizenship is fine, right? He could be arrested by ICE and sent to fucking CCOT with no due process. Why do you care? Ask a better question.
With the
Should
argument,
US
Yeah, Medhi's a U.S. citizen. Medhi lives here. He was a MSNBC host. Now he works on as a YouTuber. He lives in America now, right? He does American politics. He lives in America, and he's got, I don't know. Does anybody know? Is he a natural? He's a dual citizen. Is that it? So he does. Yeah, he has U.S. citizenship. You don't look English. Yeah, exactly. I had a friend chat that relayed her experience of growing up. Like her parents were white. She was, brown, and she lived in a small town in like the Midwest somewhere, and she'd been there all of her life. But when she worked at a gas station, I think as a summer job, she or no, actually, like what was it? I'm trying to remember, but in high school she worked in a gas station, right? And she'd have people come in, and they'd be like, "Where are you from?" And she'd be like, "I went to kindergarten with you. What are you talking? Like, I went to middle school with you. Where am I from? I'm from here. I'm from here. I was born like right. I've never known anything other than here. I am from here, right?" And people just like, "No, but where are you really from? Where are you actually from?" Like, right? It's never enough. She would just get so much shit, and she's literally like fucking local to that place. The only difference is that like it's a very white Midwestern city, and people just couldn't quite get it through their heads that yeah, no, she's one of us, right?
People who live in the US not care about.
Let's not interrupt each other. Because I have this thing, like people know I have this thing. I have to stay calm, okay? So here's the thing.
So he's trying to physically intimidate Medhi. That's an interesting technique. Just let you know, I have violent propensities and I can't always control them, especially when I get interrupted. And chat, here's the deal. This kind of content requires interruption. You can't do it without interruption. You could maybe do it with a moderator where the moderator's like, your time to speak, your time to speak, your time to speak. There's no moderator here, right? So if you're going to do content where you go back and forth, even the majority report, they interrupt each other all the fucking time. It's one of the most frustrating things about it. But if you want content where people are going to do the banter, they're going to bounce back and forth, off of each other, right? You're going to have interruptions. When I'm on a Discord call with people, I interrupt them and they interrupt me, right? This is just like you can't be like, yo, you better not interrupt. I have a violent propensity and I can't guarantee your safety exactly if I ever perceive you to have interrupted me. The other thing about that, Chad, is I'm pretty sure that people will accuse each other of interrupting them when they're the ones that are doing the interruption. So it's fucking ridiculous. And look at this guy too. Seriously, look at this guy. Can we just I know I've like nerfed the visuals for this, but holy shit, this motherfucker is a nightmare. Like, he looks like a fucking Trump voter. We're staring into the mouth of madness, right? And a weasel, luckily.
I am happy that he released J6. In fact, so much so that I was prepared to protest if he didn't.
Okay.
So
were you gonna do a violent protest? What kind of protest were you gonna do? Were you gonna invade the White House and maybe you're gonna zip tie Donald Trump until he releases the Jan 6ers? Is that what you were going to do?
You say, are you okay that he's pro-crime? Sure, because you know what? We're changing the definition of what crime is.
Wait, when he says that, I don't know what he means. I've seen this on MR went over this. A few different people I've seen go over this. Does he mean we're changing the definition of crime as in he thinks that you, the left, has changed the definition of crime? You said that people burning down cities were peaceful protesters. So, right, you're saying things that aren't a crime that were a crime. You said that Derek Chauvin committed a crime when he was a cop in pursuance of his duty of protecting and serving. That's not a crime. And you're like, is he saying you have, or is he saying we are now changing the definition of crime? Is he saying the quiet part out loud of like, look, we're in control of the country. We can say what's a crime and what's not a crime. And now we're deciding that stomping on cops' heads in order to abduct members of the legislature is not a crime if you do it for Trump. If you do it for Biden, maybe it is a crime.
You don't think stomping on police officers' heads is a crime?
I don't think it's no longer a relevant conversation anymore.
Really?
No, it's not, because you know what? Okay, have you seen the U.S. in the last 4 or 5 years?
Yes, I've
BLM protests. Have you seen?
Okay,
myself have been involved in these protests. I've seen egregious things that you couldn't even imagine.
So we have
being
no
done
rules
to conservatives. It's not about that. It's about tribal warfare.
I wish he wasn't lying. I can think of some egregious things I'd like to do.
That's where we're at in the U.S. I don't know where you're at in the U.K. You're from India, so I don't really.
I'm not from India.
Oh, sorry, your parents are from India, so
I'm an American
you have
citizen.
your own states.
I'm an American, you know.
You're an American citizen?
Yes.
Okay, fair enough. I don't know how you got that, but fair enough. Here's the thing.
Are you an American citizen?
Absolutely.
Okay.
But here's the
Not
thing.
sure how you got that, but okay.
Born here.
Okay.
Born here, and my family lineage is settlers from the 1500s, so I have
people have pointed this out ad nauseum. Settlers from the 1500s, that's pretty fucking early. That's pretty fucking early. But yeah, no, I mean, the thing that Medhi didn't hit him with is that being an American, being born in the United States, no longer entitles you to citizenship if Trump gets what he wants and what it seems like the Supreme Court might be willing to give him. Yeah, he did. He said settler. He said settler. He didn't. He actually. Yeah, I mean, this is saying the quiet part out loud.
Have some stake in the claim here, okay?
But you're
a little different.
But you're a descendant of immigrants, settlers,
I didn't know.
Colonialists.
Yeah, colonials.
You don't look very Native American to me.
I am Native American. Whites are Native Americans. What are you talking about?
You're not.
What are you talking about? Whites are Native Americans.
Really?
I think
what was happening before the 1500s?
I think you're getting confused with it.
I don't mind going on a tangent. But what was happening before the 1500s?
Calm down. I think you're getting.
What was happening?
Calm down.
Before the 1500s?
There was indigenous people here that came here from Asia.
Do you know what indigenous means?
Listen, before
indigenous
America,
people come from somewhere else.
Why do you ask a question if you're going to interrupt?
I'm not sure if you know what the meaning of indigenous means.
I do know what it means.
The funny thing is that what he's trying to do is nihilism, so he gets to call it how he wants, right? If he makes it so nothing means anything, then now he can claim that whites are indigenous, like we've been here, or his family's been here since the 1500s, right? There, that counts as indigenous now. But then the First Nations people, because their ancestors came across the land bridge from the Bering Strait was, it was either a land bridge or covered in ice when that was traversable. They came in prehistoric, like not prehistoric. Wait, would it be in very ancient times, right? And very very long time ago, right? People from the Siberia essentially crossed into North America over the Bering Land Strait, and their descendants became First Nation, what we refer to as First Nation people, right? And then but he's pointing that out. Well, even they weren't here when the dinosaurs were around. That's right, because human species didn't exist when the right. So it's kind of like, but if he's gonna use that as a standard, what he doesn't realize is that when you do nihilism, you undermine everything, including your claim that there's a problem. Okay, so if not even like the people that cross the Bering Strait to North America can claim like that as like their land, and there's can say that there's like a problem with people taking that from them, then how is he able to be like, to look at Medhi and be like, well, you don't look like you're from around here, son. When did you get citizenship? Should that I don't know how you got that. You're supposed to be. He doesn't realize that he's undermining his own argument too, right? If nothing matters, then fucking open borders would be the correct moral. They like, and obviously he's not arguing for that. He's just trying to undermine. Anyway, it's frustrating. Like I said, brains are cooked.
They came here first, right? They came here from Asia by way of land bridge. Have an argument with Neil deGrasse Tyson or anybody else about that. I don't care.
Is he an American?
I genuinely don't care. Yes, he is.
Okay, just checking.
My point is, okay?
Nothing to do with crime. So far, you've agreed with me that these people are
you're derailing, dude. I'm trying to stay on track.
You literally sat down and asked me where I'm from. I think you derailed this conversation from the get-go.
By that, but I'm
not offended. I'm just wondering what it has to do with crime.
I'm always curious.
We're going to talk about immigration. Don't worry. Later on, you can come back.
I hope so.
Right now, you're doing a very bad job of making the case that he's not pro-crime.
I just got a round of applause. I could probably get another one actually if I asked for it.
Wow.
So I don't think I'm doing
this. Is this how you get rounds of applause? You sit in a room with 20 people who agree with you. Wow, amazing. Amazing. That must make you feel good.
You know what? I'm actually
20 people
glad
agree with you. Applauded you.
Emotionally outraged right now. This is great.
I love it.
Do I have to say anything at this point, or are you just gonna keep going?
Please.
Okay.
Make your claim.
My claim is that I don't care if it's pro-crime. You want to go back to the topic of conversation?
That's fine. We agree then. He's pro-crime.
But I have a question for you though. Do you care on the opposite side of the spectrum?
Yes.
Do you care about law being administered to the opposite side of the spectrum?
I think anyone who assaults a police officer shouldn't be pardoned. I think that Donald Trump shouldn't have pardoned 9 Republican members of Congress who were convicted of crimes, and I don't think Joe Biden should commit. I don't think Democrats should pardon Democrats.
Fair, but I don't
We
think
both
you
agree.
understand where we are in the U.S. then.
I think I do.
No, because you're
I think I do
arguing
this for a
from a
living.
position of like a U.S. that doesn't exist anymore.
Okay.
We're headed towards
so
Trump.
nihilism, no laws, nothing matters.
It's not about
everyone's pro-crime.
It's not about that. It's that
That's
conservatives
convenient.
conservatives for too long have been playing it safe. They've been playing by the
Really?
law. They've been playing it
playing by the law?
Yes, they have.
Maybe
We're
you missed the Bush presidency.
conservatives
Did you
are
live here
so
during the Bush years?
Conservatives are
Didn't
so
play by the
concerned.
law, George W.
Let me
Bush, nor did
finish.
Ronald Reagan.
Let's be respectful to you. Let me finish.
I'm not sure you've been that respectful, but okay.
I'm trying to bring it back, so let's both bring it back.
That's
Okay.
good.
I'm conservative.
I love that whole. Remember when he threatened him? You better not interrupt me. I'm prone to violent outbursts, right? Medhi just called his bluff.
Okay.
Really?
Let me tell you this. We do play it too safe. We've been playing it by the book for too long.
Okay.
At this point, gloves are off, right? The left has made their point. They're willing to do.
I want to point out this is also Ethan Klein's argument about CPS. Not so much to like associate this guy with Ethan Klein or anything, but to point out that he's making a bullshit MAGA level argument when he says gloves are off, CPS. Denham's did CPS, so
Police force in Washington, the left.
Yes.
Why are they
Are you
insulting?
kidding me? The left? Are you?
wow.
Are you insane?
Police officers.
Look. Okay. Look
Wow.
at LA right here. You think those stand down? Those stand
You
down.
think the LAPD are a bunch of liberal Marxists?
No, but I
Really?
think they listen to liberal Marxists who tell them what to do.
okay.
I think they listen to who signs their paychecks at the
Can I
end of the
just
day.
check,
who are
because you're
liberal
doing lots of little diversions. We both agree Donald Trump's pro-crime, you're just fine with it.
No,
Is that
I
the
don't
That's what you've
agree
said
with
so
your-
far
I
for
don't
about
agree with your
5 minutes.
I don't agree with your definition.
What's
of
your
crime.
definition of crime?
It doesn't
Stomping
matter.
on a police officer's head is not a crime. That's
no,
your
what I'm
definition
saying-
of crime as the
He keeps getting
Native
mad.
American.
yeah. The funny thing about the red flags is like they keep on using them. Like in fact, most conservatives on this show, when it's a person on the left in the middle, they'll sort of use them to stop the bleeding on an argument that's going badly for them. But really, what it is it should be it should be a towel. It's throwing in the towel on your boxer. Like that's what that is, right? I mean, they're doing it to try to kind of save the bacon of their argument, maybe get somebody in there with stronger arguments, right? But in reality, what that is just like my fighter's fucking cooked. Let's get him out of there before he fucking, gets CTE. Like my dude's going down. We don't have a chance. This is I don't want to see this guy suffer anymore.
I am Native American.
If you say so.
So, going back to the topic at hand, we have different definitions of crime because you're
That's
talking
convenient. There's
It's
a
not
criminal
about-
code
it's
in
not
this
about
country.
what's
It's called the
convenient.
U.S. Criminal Code.
You know what? Let's focus
That's
on
what
what we
everyone
agree on.
focuses
I'm
on.
sure you and I actually agree on a lot
Do we
more than
agree
you
that
realize.
people shouldn't stomp on police officers' heads? Can we agree on that? If
I'm
you don't
not-
agree on that, then I really think this conversation is kind of
No,
pointless.
because first of all, you're saying what? That the police have the authority, that they're given the authority. I don't accept the authority that's been
it's a
given by
very
liberal
conservative
Marxists.
position.
I'm
But the conservative are pro-police.
Then you
Or
don't
we
know what a
redefine-
real. Hey, listen,
So
you're
we
in a room
redefine
with
crime.
juggernauts right now.
We
Okay,
redefine
I'm telling you right now,
conservatives.
you are going to be blown
I
open
mean-
if you think.
Did he say something about gender?
Yeah.
My
If we're going to
position
struggle
is
with the
alright,
English
you
language
have
for the
no
next couple
idea
hours, then yeah,
what you're
we're
up
struggling.
against right now. Okay.
100%.
Yeah. Newsflash: the conservatives are liberal to me. Okay. Neocons, libertarians, all those mainstream people, they might as well be leftists to me. Okay. That's how far to the right I am. Do you understand my position? So when
I
you
kind
say
of guessed it was.
Okay, so newsflash: this guy's a danger to himself and others. All right.
when you say, about obeying police, why would I give the authority to police? Do you know you're in America?
Do you think Donald Trump should
you're
be
in America?
pardoning 9 members of Congress
you
who
know
committed
who-
financial crimes?
Let
Are
me
you
see if I can remember
Are
his
you
name right, because
pro-financial
it's so-
crime?
Do
Are
you
you
know
pro-financial crime?
Blown out. Yeah, he newsflashed him. Here, let me switch back to this and read a super chat here. Charlie Kelly says he's afraid. He's afraid thinking Medhi was charging up the Shahada and the and beam him with the with an inshallah. It's like Kamehame inshallah. Is that how that works? Something like that. But there's another one biting the dust. They gave him a longer chance. They actually cheered this guy for a moment there when he said, "Whites are native to American, bro." They're like, "Oh yeah." And this is how echo chambers work, right? If you say that shit in a room of 20 people and it cooks, you are under the impression that this is these are bars. When in actuality, you just sound like an idiotic racist. Anyway, chat, let's proceed.
Crime.
All
You know
right,
who Thomas
pause.
Timbo is?
Pause.
I think the people who clapped you have voted you out.
All right. Head back to your seat. You've
I
been
gotta pick my nose and eat it before I go back to my seat now. I need a little snack. I ran out of my beaver nuggets from Buc-ee's, and I need to eat some of these boogers.
voted out by the majority.
Nice to meet you. Hello, sir. How are you?
Hey, so I'm gonna be as respectful about this as possible, but the truth is your claim is completely bad faith. You do not care about being anti-crime. You yourself are pro-crime. Your side is pro-crime because you're a progressive.
How am I pro-crime?
So I'll give you an example.
Ooh, see, now I don't like this. I don't like Medhi letting him run the conversation, right? At least point out that he's derailing. That what was asked of him was to defend Donald Trump, all right? And just one little claim of bad faith allows him to now go on the offense. Did he really just shake his hand? Yeah, it's kind of awkward. Like after basically physically threatening him, yeah, he shook his hand.
All right, so your side, not Donald Trump, has passed a series of laws in California. Let's go with California. It's where we are right now. It's where I'm from. I don't know. Are you from California?
No.
Or okay. So in California, for example, the state legislature, completely progressive, just passed a law that limits sex offender registration to 10 years. It was life before.
Completely progressive? Chat, you want to name off any Californians? Is that, how do you say it? Any California people in chat want to name off some of the things that the supposedly progressive state legislature has just approved? I feel like they signed off on some pretty bad stuff that Gavin Newsom also crime. You can say that they're on the left, right? You can say that Gavin Newsom and the California state legislature is on the left. I feel like it's pretty ignorant to. I just broke a dish. God damn it, chat. God damn it. Read the fact check. Okay. I don't understand it. When I move into a place and the dishes are not mine, how is it so fucking easy to like break dishes? Like it's just. California has a tier-based sex offender registry. Those who commit misdemeanors have to register for minimum 10 years, while those who commit more serious sex crimes have to register for 20 years to life.
That's pro-crime. The legislature in California, which is progressives again, has passed a law that says the voter-induced three-strike law is no longer absolute. If someone murders someone, stabs someone, in three...
Here's another one. California voters changed the state's three-strike rule in 2012 so that the mandatory 25 to life sentence is only imposed on serious or violent offenders. In 2021, the legislature ordered a mandatory resentencing for those with certain enhanced sentences. Yeah. This was the law that famously, I think, put somebody in a 25 to life situation for stealing a slice of pizza. It's literally like is it 3 felonies or is it just, I think it's 3 felonies, right? But maybe it didn't used to be. I don't know. But like, I mean, I've heard stories about these like three very minor offenses adding up to a life sentence for somebody. That is why they changed it in 2012.
Separate occasions. A judge now does not have to give them life. That's a progressive law. That is not. That is pro-crime. You support that, don't you?
I actually don't support sex offenders coming off a list. I think they should be on for life.
Okay, so you disagree with progressives.
So hold on. You and I both agree that sex offending is a bad thing, especially child sex offending, right?
It seems like
misdemeanors can apply too sometimes.
you and I agree on that.
I agree on that.
The legislature of California doesn't.
So I'm not here to debate.
Yeah, and the thing about laws that like allow that sort of thing. So, are there some judges that are going to be bounds of reason in some cases? Yeah. But because of this thing called implicit racism, which is racism that we have but don't realize, right? If you've Obama actually described a situation in which a black person walked by his car door late at night one time and he locked the door, right? And that was Obama kind of, relating to racist white Americans in order to make sure that, racism didn't derail his candidacy. But yeah, like a lot of people, will have, even without having like conscious racist thoughts, right, they'll have unconscious racist thoughts. And so when you've got something like this 3 strikes law, right, that allows the judge to, at certain times, like say the accused is white, and they're like, I'm gonna send this young woman to jail for stealing a pizza slice. That seems a little bit strong, but somehow when they see like a black person, you know, in the defendant's chair, you know, that seems okay, right? That's what these kind of laws allow, right? Is that implicit bias to sneak in, and sometimes maybe some not so implicit bias, right? So let's be real, judges are old as fuck.
The legislature of California. I'm here to debate
You're
Donald
progressive.
Trump being pro-crime,
But
and
you're
I'm saying that Donald Trump was friends with Ghislaine Maxwell. When Ghislaine Maxwell, who's the worst child sex trafficker of our lifetime, she's serving over 20 years. Do you know Ghislaine Maxwell?
Yeah, she's actually not. Jeffrey Epstein's the worst sex trafficker.
He's dead. I'm talking about people who are alive right now.
It's interesting though you didn't use his name, right? Wouldn't he be the one who did this?
Oh, great. I'm glad you brought up
Okay.
Jeffrey Epstein. Jeffrey Epstein, before he died, did an interview with Michael Wolff. He's on tape. I don't know if you heard the tape. He says, my closest friend was Donald Trump. I was his closest friend. Elon Musk, I'm not sure if you've heard of him, he tweeted recently that Donald Trump's name is in the Epstein files. And Ghislaine Maxwell, who was the right-hand woman of Jeffrey Epstein, when she was on trial for child sex offending, which you and I are opposed to, Donald Trump stood up and said, good luck to her, I wish her well. So yeah, that makes him pro-crime and pro-criminal if he's being soft on child sex
Well, you
traffickers
just said they
like
were his
Epstein.
friends. He's
No, I'm
clearly
saying he
saying
was
something.
friends. He was friends with Epstein. You haven't seen the videos? They danced together, partied together.
Yeah, it's
Epstein said I was
a
his
guy he
closest
knows.
friend.
He's not supported the pedophilia part. The only people supporting
Actually,
pedophilia
it's
are
not
the
true.
left.
Trump gave a speech about 20 years ago where he said Epstein's a great guy. He loves young women. A lot of them are very young. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink, laugh, laugh. So yeah, I think he's pro-crime and pro-criminal.
So you
and I
think
think
he's
he's soft
pro-crime
on
for having a
sex
friend who's
offenders.
do you have any friends who are criminals?
Not that I know of. Certainly not child sex offenders. No, do you?
If it came, no, of course
The
not.
one thing that I haven't seen break through to MAGA yet, and a decent amount of stuff has, even though you see those polls that say 80%, 88%, 90% of Republicans support Trump, right? Some of this stuff has started to break through, but it's broken through as in Donald Trump doesn't have the courage to take on the deep state, or Donald Trump is somehow using this as leverage or making a deal or this or that. The thing that doesn't break through is the very obvious conclusion that Donald Trump, he just said Donald Trump supported, he was friends with the guy. He didn't support the pedophilia. It looks now like Donald Trump did the pedophilia, right? Just an unbiased perspective, looking at this shit from the outside with no skin in the game, says it looks like Donald Trump did, you really have to, you really have to do some mental gymnastics to convince yourself that there's not a strong chance that Donald Trump, predated underage girls, right, at this point. And that's the part that hasn't broken through. So I feel like we need more, I feel like we need to rub their faces in a little bit. President PDF, the pedophile in chief, Donald Trump, right? Yeah, I'm sorry, but you got to start talking about this stuff, even if we're only talking about allegedly, all right, which is what I'm saying here. We got to put it into words, and we got to rub their faces in it a little bit.
Okay, so we're both in agreement again.
If
So
it
why are you
came out
defending
tomorrow
Donald Trump?
if it came out tomorrow that one of your friends was a child sex
You know
trafficker,
what I'd do?
you'd stop being friends with him.
Yes.
Yeah,
And I
but-
wouldn't say...
And then I'd go on TV and I would say, "Oh, look, Mr. Hassan was friends with this guy 10 years ago. Therefore, he's
What if
pro-child
Mr.
sex
Hassan
trafficking."
said, I wish them well when they're on trial? Wouldn't you ever go at me for
You
that?
wish your
Wouldn't
friend
you
well
not?
on trial?
Yeah, child sex trafficker. Would you mean that?
I wouldn't wish someone well, but that's
But Donald
your
Trump
gotcha.
did.
That's your gotcha.
It's a pretty
Is it
big
you said
gotcha.
You wish
Yeah,
your friend
pretty
well?
big gotcha.
Okay,
He
but
praised
see,
the- he
what
praised
you're
the
really
woman
trying
for
to do.
child
That's your gotcha, but the thing is, I actually do gotcha. I actually gotcha. And those red flags should be coming up right now. Because this guy's getting cooked. Save him. Save him. Come get your dudes. Come get your dudes, Groiper.
Now, as you're
What
trying
about
to
the
get back
fact
to
that
Donald Trump
what
on a
about the fact
personal
that
level,
Elon
let's talk
Musk says his
policy.
name is...
What's his
Oh,
policy?
you want to talk policies?
Yes.
So when he left office in 2020, he left behind the highest murder rate for over 100 years.
He left
Between
behind the
20
highest murder.
Yes.
That is the most bad faith claim you
No,
could
no,
possibly make.
it's a fact from the CDC
And you know
data.
what? Here's why it's bad faith.
Can I finish the sentence and then you can come back in?
You're just lying to people. Donald
I'm
Trump.
lying? Can
Yes,
I finish the sentence?
Donald Trump does not cause the
Can I-
murder rate.
can I-
Murder is a state
Oh,
level
that's
crime.
hilarious.
Gavin
Conservatives
Newsom is
spent-
more responsible for the murder rate than Donald Trump
Okay,
is.
that's hilarious. So Donald Trump's not responsible for murder rate, but other politicians who are Democrats
Yes,
are.
because it's
Everyone
a state
can see
level
your
law.
partisan
That's
shit.
like saying no. I'll say Republicans are too.
Let's-
State governors who are soft on crime are the ones that are
Let
responsible
me finish
for
the
murder
sentence.
rates.
when Donald Trump left office in 2020.
They literally hung Laken Riley's corpse around Biden and Kamala's neck. Yeah, I feel like there's a little bit of hypocrisy here.
Between 2019 and 2020, according to data from the CDC, from the FBI, from Pew Research, the 30% increase in the murder rate between 2019 and 2020. It was the single biggest jump in the murder rate since 1905.
So
he's pro-crime
who's doing the murdering?
and
Aren't they
pro-criminal.
responsible? Who's doing the murdering?
The murderers.
So aren't they responsible
But why
for
did
the
it
murder
go up
rate?
on his watch?
What?
Why did it go up on his watch?
Gee,
He's
that's
very
a real
bad.
hard. That's
He's
a
very
real
bad
hard.
at fighting crime.
That's a real hard one to figure out, right? We shut down the whole economy during COVID. We told everyone they couldn't go out unless it was to violently protest. We told people that if a cop tries to arrest you, that cop's probably going to get charged with murder.
No, I think the pandemic had a lot to do with it. But the
Did
pandemic
he
didn't
cause
finish
that?
in 2020.
What?
The pandemic didn't finish in
No, but
2020.
you asked why the murder rate
and
went
yet
up.
we're
The
going to
murder
play the
rate
what
went up
about game.
because of
You
all
guys
these
blame Joe
factors.
Biden for crime for years.
But Joe
For
Biden
years.
actively induces policies that are pro-crime. I'm asking
So
you
does
for
Donald Trump. Okay.
Name the policy
I'll
that's
name one right
pro-crime.
now. I'll name
Please,
one right
I've asked
now.
you for like 10 minutes.
I'll name
Please
one right
do
now.
that.
No, you haven't actually. You talked
What,
about
some of
California legislatures. He pardoned violent criminals
That's
who
not-
then went
that's
on
not a policy.
to commit
He
other
did-
crimes. You don't think releasing violent crimes into
And
the
pardon's
community?
a one-time thing. What's his policy
Do you know-
he has pushed?
A
Name
one-time
any
thing.
law he has
A pardon
What
is a
law has he
one-time
signed?
thing. Is a policy is not one-time
That's
thing.
like Jimmy Carter pardoned the
You
draft.
guys may want to dodge January 6th, the pardons.
I'm not.
A pardon is you could say it's a one-time thing, but it's an override of the justice system, right? It's you taking the laws made by the legislature, signed into law by the executive, all right, and then, upheld by the judiciary, and then implemented, through criminal proceedings, given their due process, and then adjudicated as guilty, and saying, yeah, that doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. I'm going to override this one. All right? This person was adjudicated guilty of a crime, was given a sentence, and I'm going to override that now. It doesn't matter. Yeah, what the fuck is that other than pro-crime?
That.
Then
Jimmy
deal with
Carter.
it. Did you agree with
I'm
them?
gonna right
Do
now.
you agree with
Jimmy
them?
Carter
Do you
pardoned
agree with
draft
the pardons?
dodgers. Does that mean his
I
policy was
don't
no one has
support
to?
Jimmy Carter. Do you
Okay.
support? Do you support the pardoning of people who went on to be prosecuted for sexual?
Did he
abuse
bring
of
up?
child?
Did he just bring up Jimmy Carter pardoning draft dodgers? People who didn't want to fucking murder Vietnamese children, didn't want to burn their fucking skin off of them, didn't want to cause birth defects for years and years and years with Agent Orange, and Jimmy Carter given, a blanket pardon for those people. That's the issue. January 6th, no, that's totally fine. You should do a pardon for skull fucking cops, right? That deserves a pardon. But I'm sorry, refusing to murder children, no, that's an unpardon. They can never be forgiven.
Illegal gun possession, reckless homicide.
Now, see,
These are people
there's
who
more bad
released-
things. See,
these are
there's
people
more
who
bad
released
things.
from
He
prison.
didn't pardon someone for sexually abusing a
No, but
child.
they went on
He
to be
pardoned
convicted
someone
of it.
for
So
rebelling
that's it.
against the government that they believe
No,
had
they-
rigged elections. That's what he pardoned them for. He didn't pardon them for
No.
sexual child abuse.
But they were criminals who committed those crimes. He let them out, so that means
Now,
the
you
crime
say,
rate goes up.
so you say they're criminals because they did the crime, right?
Yeah.
Would you extend that to illegal immigrants, that they're all criminals because they committed a crime? I have a
Guess what? It's not a crime. It's a violation of a civil law. That's a civil procedure. That's a civil penalty. That's not crime. That's not crime. That's not a criminal proceeding.
Supreme Court, we're going to talk about immigration.
someone who's illegally entered the United States, not a criminal, but
not
somebody who
according to the
illegally
Supreme
entered the
Court.
Capitol
Not
is.
according to the Supreme Court of the United States.
The Supreme Court has said that anyone who enters the United States
The
illegally
Supreme
is not a
Court,
criminal.
and we can
What's the case
jump
site?
to
Can I get the
future
case
claims.
site? Can I get the
We
case
can
site?
jump to 20.
Can I-
You want to get the case?
The case site, please. For
You
you
want-
said the Supreme Court
The
said,
citation of the case.
yes, that entering
It's
the United
called-
States illegally is not a crime.
It's called Arizona versus United States 2012. Go look it up.
Pause. You've been voted out by the majority. Please return to your seat.
Hey, how's it going?
How are you guys?
Nice to meet you, Medhi.
Nice to meet you. Thank you for coming. I appreciate you. I really just more want to get an understanding. When you say pro-criminal, what do you mean?
I mean that when confronted with people who've committed criminal acts, Donald Trump has been either soft on them, friendly with them, pardoned them, and of course, let's not forget, I mean, we've got 5 minutes left, I'm surprised it hasn't come up earlier. He's a convicted criminal himself, sitting in the White House.
Okay, I want to make sure I
34
understand you correctly, because
Yes.
I don't want to strawman you.
No,
You're saying
I appreciate that.
every time that he's been confronted,
Not every time. I didn't
most
say the
times,
words every time.
most times,
A lot of the time.
a lot of the times,
Yes.
he's leaned towards criminal activity.
I didn't say criminal activity. He has committed crimes.
Endorsed criminal.
He's been indicted for
Correct.
88 different criminal offenses. in 4 different jurisdictions by 5 different grand juries. He was convicted himself on 34 different criminal offenses by a jury of his peers. But let's park that for a moment. Separate to his own crimes, when confronted with the crimes of others, or the alleged crimes of others, for example, a Chinese crypto billionaire called Justin Sun, who was being investigated for market manipulation, Trump dropped the case, invited him to the golf course, invited him to the White House,
plenty of examples,
and the guy invested $70 million in Trump's cryptocurrency.
So what I want to ask you
That's
this.
pro-crime in my
so
view.
is it possible, because remember, the burden of proof's on you, right? You have to prove. Is it possible that all these things that he's done that supposedly make him pro-crime, is there's another reason for the doing it? There's other justification. For example, let me give an example, and then you can rebut it. The J6. Is it possible that he could have done this to unite the country, to move past, to go to a new chapter? If it's even
to unite the country. What is this guy smoking? This isn't a popular move, right? Even with Republicans, there's Republicans who have trepidation about this kind of thing.
I think you would have to admit that there's another possibility, therefore he's not pro-crime, at least a possibility.
So let me agree and disagree.
Okay.
So I agree with you that the intent could be different. I don't think
so. Understand when they say impossibility, what they're doing, right? This is an attempt to adopt a standard of proof, the kind of standard of proof that applies to a criminal in a trial, right? So if there is a shadow of a reasonable doubt, you're supposed to find that person not guilty. That doesn't mean you're saying they're innocent, because when you say not guilty, that is a different finding by a jury or by a judge than if they're actually innocent, right? Yeah, he's trying to shift the burden of proof in a conversation, mind you, right? Which the conversation isn't trying to find, like, according to the standard of law, like, is it possible that this guy is not pro-criminal? Yeah, he's taken a fucking criminal defense standard of burden of proof and applying it to a conversation.
Sitting there saying, how can I increase the level of murders? Let me release some murderers.
Right.
I'm not saying he did that on January 6th. I don't think he was trying to unite the country. That's where we disagree. That's bullshit. In fact, he divided the country further. But intent doesn't really matter to my claim. If he's releasing violent criminals,
wait.
it doesn't
Intent
matter.
doesn't matter?
No, he's pro-crime and pro-criminal.
Well, no, but that's a big indictment to say pro-crime. That means
If I'm
he's
confronted,
for crime.
I'm confronted. Well, he is, because I gave an example.
No. It could
Can I
be
finish?
possible.
I didn't
Okay, sorry,
interrupt you.
forgive me.
Your friend earlier, your ally, said, where has he done stuff that's increased the crime? I'm telling you, people have been pardoned who have been convicted on multiple other crimes. These people who we pardoned had previous criminal records. They were not just some folks chilling around go, we're against the takeover of our country, we're opposed to rebellion. A lot of these people were already hardened criminals, militia members. He looked at those people and said, you know what? They've been convicted, in many cases, by Republican judges, but I'm going to let them out. Yeah, that makes
Can I
you
ask you a question?
pro-criminal.
Is it possible?
Very
Okay,
much so.
I'll try to-
And if Joe Biden had done it, you'd be attacking him.
Sure. Is it possible that their conviction was part of a plea? It's like, oh shit, I can't get out of this, so I got to take a plea deal.
Oh, great question. That's a huge problem in our justice system. The police system is a huge, is a huge issue. The plea, what it does, chat, is it incentivizes innocent people to plead guilty. And there's a reason for this, right? Because we don't put enough resources into the judicial system to actually have all the trials. We don't have enough judges. We don't have enough lawyers. We don't have enough court time. We don't have enough anything to actually take everything to trial, like even just criminally, right? And so they got this whole, the police system allows the prosecutor to essentially waive like an absurdly severe sentence over the head of the accused, and to say, if you don't want Jolene Cujo to be sentenced to 25 to life, then even though you were not the you were not the agent of murder or the accessory to the murder, and that was your boyfriend, you were gonna cop to that plea, get his worthless ass off, and you're gonna serve a essentially like her lawyer, I mean, this is from a manga chat, and obviously Hirohiko Araki does not know the American judicial system that well. I mean, just as an example, if you've seen JoJo Part 6, right? The police system is essentially used to get innocent people to plead guilty, right? To save the court time and money. And that's some bullshit.
Some of them, maybe.
A lot of them, maybe?
Others we saw with our own lying eyes on tape, battering police officers. Did you watch live on January 6th? What happened?
To be completely honest, I'm pretty novice on this.
Okay.
I'm more trying to target. You're saying he's pro-crime. In my head,
I'm
just
saying,
thinking this logically. Let me finish. If I can finish for 1 second. If thinking this, and there's a possibility that he might have had other reasons. For example, unifying the country.
Yep.
Next chapter, right? That could be the reason. Therefore, it's not pro-crime. There was other reasons. I'm just saying that's a possibility. And if that's
saying it's a possibility, but I'm saying it's irrelevant because if you're knowingly releasing violent criminals out into the community, pardoning, not just releasing, then yes, you are being pro-criminal.
Yeah.
I've interviewed police officers.
I don't know about that case,
I've interviewed police officers who have been assaulted, beaten, had to retire from the police office, broken bones.
Can I move really quick?
I'll finish.
You're about to get fucking shit canned, dude.
I've interviewed these police officers. They've been beaten by people who they've then seen walk off the streets and then carry on threatening them. Yes, when Donald Trump is responsible for that, you're definitely pro-crime.
Okay, I doubt
All
a lot
right,
of those sources, but
You doubt police officers who testified to being assaulted.
You've
Wow.
been voted out by the majority. Please return to your seat.
Thanks.
Yeah, hey, if only the testimony of police officers was as easy to impeach in other cases, right? There are definitely cases where police officers have planted evidence on people and or testified falsely in order to secure a conviction, right? But generally, the court will look upon their testimony if there's nothing disproving that, right? If there's nothing conflicting with a police officer's story, they'll take the cop's word over your word 100% of the time.
Hey, how's it going?
Good.
Nice to meet you, Medhi.
So you claim that your main claim is that Trump pardoned some people from January 6th. By the way, I was there. I saw it all firsthand.
You saw it or you did it? Were you?
About a football
Did you go in?
field away. The
Okay.
smoke in my eyes. Bloodied. It was crazy.
Bloodied. The thing about it was, chat, the cops were barely able to fight back, let alone like do the kind of damage. Like, look, in a protest, right? Like the LA protest, right? A reporter got shot in the leg with a rubber bullet. People got, fucked up by flashbang grenades. Like a lot of people got hurt. A lot of people were bloody, right? And January 6th, there were, maybe canisters of tear gas, but that's about it. There wasn't, the kind of attempt to shut down the protest because honestly, the Capitol Police were not, they were not sufficient to even hold back the Gen 6ers, let alone to.
Day.
Were you convicted of any crimes?
No, of course not, because I didn't enter the building. Stay very peaceful. But your entire claim is that he
That's
pardoned.
not my entire claim.
That's basically you keep bringing it up. All you do is bring it up.
Okay, I'll mention some other
let
people.
me say this.
Are you okay with his pardoning of Paul Wolchak, who stole money from his employees?
You keep talking about
9
pardoning.
former members of Congress. That's
You
my
keep talking
claim.
about pardoning.
He keeps pardoning criminals. That makes him.
You know who else
pro-criminal.
pardoned a big criminal?
Go on.
Hunter Biden was pardoned by his
Yeah, I
father.
think he
He
should've
did
done
crack
that.
cocaine,
He should've done
and
that.
he had hookers there too.
I'm with you all. I'm with you all.
But then why don't you claim that Biden? Why don't you claim that Biden?
I think Joe Biden in that instance was pro-crime. He shouldn't have done it.
Well,
he
so
shouldn't
he
have
was
done it.
overall pro-crime
He shouldn't have
just
done it.
because he did that
No,
one.
but Joe Biden didn't just. So if it was just a pardon,
Okay.
then you'd be fine. But I already mentioned there's also the fact that Joe Biden wasn't actually a convicted criminal in office. Trump has committed crimes. Trump hangs around with criminals. He spent much of the 80s hanging around with the New York mob. He hung around with Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell.
Well, that whole that's.
Hey, what's this one say? I almost wish we could leave this part of the screen alone just to be able to read it either. According to Fear City documentary and other reports, Trump worked with the media on certain construction jobs that involved unions, supply contractor companies that were under mob control. Wait, is he going to talk about Trump? This has been unspoken fact, I guess, about Trump and his organization for years and years and years.
Wasn't actually a convicted criminal in office. Trump has committed crimes. Trump hangs around with criminals. He spent much of the 80s hanging around with the
Oh, yeah, that's what he's, okay.
mob. He hung around with Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell.
Well, that whole that's
I can keep going.
Jeffrey Epstein lived in West Palm Beach, the area, and that's the closest golf course you can go to.
Do you think?
And he's very
do you think
rich,
Donald Trump is in the Epstein
so
file?
he paid.
Do you think
As
Donald Trump is in the
as
Epstein
soon
file?
as Trump found out,
Do you think Donald Trump is in the Epstein file?
No, I do not. And
What, is Elon Musk lying?
Let me explain. Let me explain this.
Okay.
He lived in the area in Mar-a-Lago, near Mar-a-Lago. So
He didn't meet Epstein from living in Mar-a-Lago. They moved, Epstein, I think, moved next to him because of their prior friendship and association, right? This is,
he bought, obviously, a ticket to go in there.
Yeah.
As soon as Trump found out that Epstein had done all these bad things, immediate ban
That's
from
not true,
Mar-a-Lago.
but okay.
Immediate ban
That's
from
not
Mar-a-Lago.
true.
Yes, it is.
That's not true.
okay, a book called The Grifters Club alleged Trump banned Epstein from Mar-a-Lago for hitting on another member's daughter.
It is
In fact,
100%.
Ghislaine Maxwell recruited some of the girls that were abused from Mar-a-Lago.
During deposition, Virginia Joffrey said she was approached by Ghislaine Maxwell about giving massages to Epstein while working as a spa attendant in Mar-a-Lago.
So listen to this.
From Mar-a-Lago. That's pretty outrageous, right?
Elon Musk tweeted that out in a fit of rage. Okay. Do you really?
Sometimes
Do you
people tell
really
the truth
think?
when they're angry.
Do you really
the
think?
truth comes out when people are angry sometimes.
So Cash
we
Patel,
might see that today.
Cash Patel literally said that Musk had no access to the Epstein files. So
Cash Patel said that Epstein killed him.
Cash Patel says a lot of things. Like, let's just remember who we're talking about here, right? With Cash Patel. So this guy, that's your character witness right there.
Himself. Do you agree with that? I'm angry sometimes.
So Cash
we
Patel,
might see that today.
Cash Patel literally said that Musk had no access to the Epstein files. So
Cash Patel said that Epstein killed himself. Do you agree with that?
Whatever he says goes. Then yeah, I don't care.
You do?
He knows more information than
A
I do.
lot of MAGA people are upset.
He knows
with
more
Cash Patel
information than I
saying
do.
that.
But
Including maybe some of your cohort here on this show today.
But here's the actual claim.
Suddenly people are trying to vote you out because you said you agree with Cash Patel on Epstein.
He knows more
All
information
right,
than I do.
pause. That's time. Please return to your seat.
Good to meet you.
Yeah.
Take care.
Surrounded is next.
As a podcast? Okay, if you say so. I feel like the visual, as much as we're blocking some of the visual here, I can't imagine what this would be like as a podcast. I mean, I guess it works. It's mostly a conversation between Medhi and someone else, so you could probably cut it up in a way that.
Nice to meet
Pleasure
you.
to meet you, sir.
Mandy, lovely to meet you.
Oh, wait, this guy's pretty unhinged, right?
So I would say that with Trump being anti-constitution, I don't really care, to be quite frankly.
Okay.
Because in regards,
It's your big moment, guy. It's your big moment. Say, fuck the Constitution. Fuck those founding fathers.
to the Constitution is a document that should seek to serve us. And when it fails to seek to serve us, that can be amended. Laws can be changed. And quite frankly, the fact is, we're defending things in this country that shouldn't be defended. The First Amendment should not defend pornography and making children and women be victimized. Making women and children be victimized as a result of that. I think things like blasphemy shouldn't be allowed per the First Amendment. I think that, quite frankly, there are a lot of legal processes that are enabling criminals and bad people to fully enact their will in this country in the name of the Constitution or following the Constitution. So, quite frankly, if Trump is anti-Constitution, good, and I think he should go further.
So this is wonderfully revealing of the modern conservative mindset. So I appreciate you spelling it out so openly. Just checking, do you support the Second Amendment?
I do.
Okay. Surprise! I was shocked to hear that. I'm saying that Donald Trump is defying the First Amendment, the Fourth Amendment, the Fifth Amendment, the 14th Amendment. He's thinking of defying the 12th and 22nd Amendments. You're saying you don't care about the Constitution, but actually you do because you quite like the Second Amendment. You just don't like the bits that you disagree with. Can I just be clear on that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I'm more than willing to amend it and include
Whenever
the
it's in your
Second
favor.
Amendment. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So can Democrats do the same when they're in office?
No, absolutely not. Because
So you don't
it's the
believe in
friend
democracy?
enemy. No, I don't. Absolutely not.
What do you believe in?
Autocracy.
By who?
Honestly, quite frankly, anyone who is in line with Catholic teaching.
Donald Trump is not Catholic.
Of course, he's not. I completely agree, and that's part of the problem.
Trump? You don't support Trump?
No, I don't. I didn't even vote for him. I wrote in like John.
I'm sorry, but this is more de facto support of child molesters here. If the Catholic Church, Catholic teaching though, oh God. So here's the thing. He doesn't even mean the Catholic Church. This guy probably thinks that the Pope is woke and, you know, that Catholicism has lost its way ever since Vatican II. Back before, like, this guy's arguing to make Catholicism anti-Semitic again, in all likelihood, right? But like, did you see how everybody clapped with the Catholic thing? That's why I titled this stream "Goat versus Groypers." All right, that's what we're dealing with here. Understand that these aren't even really Catholics. They're people appropriating Catholicism in for their own theocratic fascist means, right? The Catholic Church, in its present form, not trying to take over any governments. There was concern about that when John F. Kennedy was elected, that if you elect a Catholic, that the Pope, since the Catholic has to do what the Pope says, then the Pope is, you're technically electing the Pope as president, right? People, but yeah, this is some sick shit. And I feel like Catholics need to do something about this. Like, they're gonna take the fucking church down with them. And in reality, this doesn't have anything to do with Catholic teaching. This definitely doesn't have anything to do with the church. And it's just another red flag to look for, right? When you see, Catholic teaching, right? When you see banned pornography and all this shit, you're listening to Nick Fuentes' reheated Giardia diarrhea, right? Spewing out of this, just in big clumps, spewing out of this man's mouth, right? That's what he's doing. He's like lapped up all of Nick's like diarrhea shits in the diarrheas. Is that what he said? All of Nick Fuentes' diarrheas, and he's regurgitating them for the pleasure of this audience. Let's not pretend Catholicism is defensible. Do you think that's what I'm doing, Lena, or are you just here for drama?
Pork or someone. I didn't even remember.
Why did you vote if you don't believe in democracy and you want autocracy?
Well, because quite frankly, I voted. I kind of voted just to.
Catholicism, as I alluded to earlier, has a huge load of baggage, right, in the form of the multiple victims of child predation, right, by Catholic priests and other officials. And the church itself has done a lot to protect these people, to move them around, to deny victims any kind of justice, and to fight them in court ultimately, right? So no, they're not defensible, but they're also not doing Nick Fuentes level theocratic fascism, right? They're not Matt Walsh, right? That's Vatican II. That's the old Catholic Church that was formerly anti-Semitic. And you can make an argument that, an organization retains some of its culture even when the leadership and the formal rules change. So yeah, it's definitely not an organization that I would praise, but at the same time, it's not what these people are talking about isn't exactly Catholicism. They're like making up a new, version of the Catholic Church that has a lot more to do with Fuentes than, with Catholic. I went to Catholic high school, Chad, and they taught me that the Bible, the first few books of the Bible, were not written, as I had learned in my Protestant church, were not written by Moses. They were written by specific authors. Like within Genesis, you got like multiple authors, right? So, like say what you will about it. It's not a great organization. In fact, organized religion in general, I'm not super in favor of. But it's not what these guys are trying to turn it into. And I wish that the Catholic Church would push back on this, and like they need to do what they not like us, right? Because this is something a little different. But yeah, no, point taken that the Catholic Church has a lot of historical guilt to take account for.
I came with this argument, but I'm bored of my own argument. I'm much more interested in this. So
yeah, absolutely.
How do we get to an autocracy?
I think, quite frankly, that if we are able to enact local
Who
leaders...
Who is the we, by the way?
I think, quite frankly, these far-right conservatives sitting right around
White people?
Yeah,
No
absolutely.
Problem. So,
well, actually, I have quite...
Some of the people in this room don't make the cut from what I can see visually.
Actually, hold on for a moment. I do think that there are people who happen to not be white who do actually have history in this country and have roots in this country. For instance, from the Mexican-American War, we subsumed a lot of territory of people who have far stakes in this country who happen to be Hispanic or what have you. I'm for defending the traditional demographics of this country, which is majority white, and should stay that
How
way.
does the United States... I mean, we've gone so off topic, but how does the United States look like under you? Sorry, what's your name?
My name is, my name's Connor.
I'm sorry, you can't answer what is your name? That's a tricky question. Does he have a YouTube channel and he was thinking about like saying my name is political pundit 81205 and then he's like, no, I better just say my name.
Pleasure to meet you.
Took a little bit of a doubt there.
Oh, well, I use a pseudonym online.
Fair enough.
Fair enough.
How would Connor's American?
Okay, it was. He's got a handle. He's got a Twitter account that he thought about introducing himself as.
Look, what would it look like?
Well, quite frankly, I think we would deport people who shouldn't be here.
I didn't ask what deported. What does the government look like?
What does the government look like?
Yeah.
I would say, quite frankly, it's under a sort of benevolent leader such as
Where does he
Franco.
come
from? It could.
Benevolent leader such as Franco. Okay. Benevolent. Oh my God. I mean, Chet. I'm assuming most of us in here know what Spain went through in the wake of the, like they look. Fascism got cleared out of Europe at Victory in Europe Day, and Japan in VJ Day, which I call the JJ Day. But the Franco-fascist government lingered on and on and on, and the Spanish people suffered from it. That's a fucked up thing to say. Benevolent leadership of Franco?
Could be a kind of aristocratic class, could be someone
who picks the autocrat?
Frankly, the people. I mean, we could hold a vote on it. Kings were
isn't that democracy?
Well, sure. You can have a vote to get to that stage.
He just wants to be able to say specifically who gets to vote, right? And maybe throw any of those votes out of names that sound African American or Spanish. I don't know.
Votes afterwards.
Absolutely.
Wow.
100%.
Wow. And if that autocrat kills you and your family, you're fine with that?
Well, I'm not going to be a part of the group that he kills, because that's the whole thing.
How do you know?
Carl Schmitt
Autocrats tend to kill everyone.
Carl Schmitt makes this point very well in his work. It's the friend-enemy distinction, right?
Carl Schmitt, the Nazi.
Oh my God. Chat, wasn't this correct me if I'm wrong, chat, but for President Sunday, in his old thumbnail, the one with the octopus reading the book, right? The book that the octopus is reading, I believe, is Carl Schmitt, right? I'm not saying that Sunday is like doing a dog whistle or he's like a crypto Nazi or anything. There's probably a reason that he's got the octopus reading Carl Schmitt, but I believe that was that's where I remember the name Carl Schmitt from.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't care.
Are you fan of the Nazis?
I don't. I frankly don't care being called a Nazi.
I didn't say that. I didn't
matter. Oh yeah, remember it's cool. Wait, should I show you how cool it is, chat? Yeah, we're pro-Nazi Fred Gutfeld on Fox News apparently now. Nazi.
This is why the criticism doesn't matter to us when you call us Nazis, Nazi this, Nazi that. You know, I'm beginning to think they don't like
Nazi, Nazi, Nazi.
us. You know what? I've said this before. We need to learn from the blacks. The way they were able to remove the power from the N-word by using it. So from now on, it's what up, my Nazi? Hey, what up, my Nazi? Hey, what's hanging, my Nazi?
Nazi, please.
Thank God you did a hard eye there. What does it tell you, though?
So yeah, funny enough, chat, there is like, look, within the deep, dark Enlightenment corners of the right-wing movement, of the MAGA movement, frankly, there are people that have a long-term goal they don't want the Nazis to stand for like the ultimate evil, right? They think that's a huge problem. The fact that the mythology of World War II is that the Nazis were like irrefutably evil, and that anybody that's doing that again is wrong, right? They want to move on from that. They want to center other things as the greatest evil, right? There's literally a project to try to rehabilitate Nazi, or at least to try to neutralize the kind of valence of the word into something that's just well, that was another historical movement, and right.
This is why the criticism.
Anyway.
I didn't say that. I said, are you a fan of the Nazis?
Well, they persecuted the church a little bit. I'm not a fan of that, but
what about the persecution of the Jews?
Well, I mean, I certainly don't support anyone's human dignity being assaulted. I'm a Catholic.
But you don't condemn Nazi persecution of the Jews?
I think that there was a little bit of persecution.
We may have to
which is
rename
bad,
this show because you're a little bit more than a far-right Republican.
Hey, what can I say?
Hey, what can I say? You know, he's like...
I think you say, I'm a fascist.
Yeah, I am. Absolutely.
I'm just checking who's clapping just to get my set of where everyone is on this. Because you know that millions of people are going to be watching you on YouTube and checking out who the fascists and the Nazis.
Yeah, you can get the claps from 20 people in the room. Just don't think that represents, let's hear this monstrous laugh again. Here, I almost want to move the weasel slightly. We move the weasel a little bit, just like over here. I want to see that fucking monster laugh.
Absolutely.
All right, Republican.
Hey, what can I say?
I think you say, I'm a fascist.
Yeah, I am. Absolutely.
I'm just checking who's clapping just to get my set of where everyone is. I think you say, I'm a fascist.
Yeah, I am.
Oh my god.
Absolutely.
I'm just checking who's clapping. Fascist.
Yeah, I am.
Fascist.
Yeah, I am.
Fascist.
Yeah, I am.
Fascist.
Yeah, I am.
All right.
Absolutely.
I'm just checking who's clapping just to
That's amazing.
Where everyone is on this. Because you know that millions of people are going to be watching you on YouTube and checking out who the fascists and the Nazis are.
I'm not ashamed of that whatsoever.
No, clearly you're not.
During the pre-war period, prior to World War II, it was only those parties that properly enacted the people's will. That's why they won. The conservatives were fat cats.
Are you in favor of killing people who aren't like you?
Quite frankly, I'm not.
Those eyes, yeah. No, the laugh, the eyes. I mean, this guy's a monster. Schmidt's Concept of the Political is on my shelf. I'm not trying to damn anybody who, has, Schmidt's work as I'm not, just to be clear, this is not me calling President Sunday a Nazi. I'm just pointing out that was the book in the thumbnail. Now, whether Sunday's an ANCAP or not, that's a different question, but we'll get to that on another day.
You mentioned Franco earlier. Franco killed a lot of innocent people.
Oh, well, he killed communists. He killed people who raped nuns and killed priests.
What about children who he killed and women who he killed?
What are you talking about? He never killed any women or children. He was Catholic,
He only killed combatants.
He was Catholic! Catholics have never done anything bad to women or children. What is this factoid? Franco and his forces killed or executed 150,000 people. That includes members of the Catholic clergy who were deemed either liberal or loyal to the Spanish Republic.
Only kill combatants.
Never killed any of
the white terror was only punishing those people who did acts of terrorism. And again, are you supporting like raping innocent women? Nuns, dude. Killing priests? I mean, priests don't
nuns, dude. You trying to rape a nun over here?
Brandish guns and kill
people? You just
people?
refuse to condemn the Nazi Holocaust, my friend. I don't think you're in a position to ask anyone any questions.
I quite frankly don't care what you think about me. If I'm a Nazi and being a Nazi,
is mutual,
if being a Nazi means upholding human dignity, because I even believe in your dignity. I don't. In a state that I was running, I wouldn't want to hurt you or anything like that. But quite frankly,
I don't debate fascists.
Okay. So do you concede then? I mean, why?
Do I concede you're a fascist who won't condemn the Nazis?
Yeah.
Yes, I concede.
Okay, great. So I mean, what are we doing here?
What the fuck? Did he think he just got a concession?
Because I mean, you just seem offended.
What you're doing here,
you just seem offended, to be quite frankly. Like
I'm offended by people who can't condemn the Nazis. Yes, I am.
Okay. Well, I condemn the evils that they did, but I don't really care about being. Yeah, sure. I don't care about being called a Nazi. Is the whole thing.
I never called you a Nazi.
I care
You
about
called
doing
yourself
the right
a Nazi,
thing.
a fascist, and a General Franco
Well,
supporter.
yeah, I am a General Franco supporter. He was awesome. He was so super cool, quite frankly. Because the whole
and
thing.
you don't believe in democracy.
I don't believe in democracy.
What are you doing here at a televised debate?
Because,
this is democracy. I want to debate and disagree.
Because it is the means to.
Okay, let's not confuse a televised debate. Certainly not Jubilee with democracy, but yeah, point taken. Point taken, right? If he's a Nazi, you know, this is not how they
to support an end. The reason we have free speech now is because we want to be openly talking about our opinions so we can get the state that we want. But it doesn't mean upholding free speech after we win. Again, I mentioned
the only good thing about this fascist moment
the
we're in
whole reason
is that you guys are so open about it.
The whole reason I mentioned.
Oh shit! Wait! We've seen him before. Wait, chat. Oh, this was somebody that was on Sam Cedar, right? This person right here. Am I crazy, chat? This is the dude. Dude can act like this because he knows he's safe to do so. Let's hope he's not safe long term. Let's hope that Medhi's right and that these people identifying them as fascists has social consequences, at least down the line. This was, this was the person that I feel like, was this the one where Cat Turd or somebody, quote, retweeted this? And was like, yeah, look at this base conservative destroying this SJW here. And this dude was the SJW, right? He just read the aesthetics of this person and the aesthetics of Sam Cedar and was like, oh, obviously Sam Cedar is the based conservative in this equation. I think this is the same guy. Chat, do you want more of these? Like, should we do like a subathon on Twitch or something like that? Where, again, this is like the riskiest kind of content that I could possibly do. So far, so good. Nothing as bad has happened. Make sure to remind me to take off the audio filter and stuff like that after this. But yeah, we could probably. I mean, I never watched the Sam Cedar stuff because I was sure I would get shit canned on YouTube. There's a lot of these. Candace Owens has had one of these. Jordan Peterson has gotten cooked in one of these. Ben Shapiro, I think, had some bad moments in one of these. Medhi is giving the correct response. They don't deserve to be humored, and look at how quickly he shut off he shut him right up. Yeah, that laugh when he realized where he was. Oh yeah, and the Ahmed. Yeah. Thanks for reminding me, Raif. I mentioned that one earlier too. Yeah, Ahmed, Ethan's friend.
The reason I mentioned Carl Schmitt earlier, you kind of blew past him, is the friend-enemy distinction.
You blew past. Okay. No, this is probably interesting stuff to talk about. In fact, I've seen the friend-enemy dynamic like brought up in other context. I mean, that's like an influential little giblet of Carl Schmitt, apparently. Friend-enemy distinction. But yeah, it's not. Anyway.
Even liberals, when they take power, they want to enact policies and they want to enact protections for their people and their ideas, and they're willing to punish their enemy. And so I'm the same way. I'm like, hey, if you're going to punish me, I'm going to get in power, and I'm going to frankly punish you when you try to let.
That's why, chat. I always say that John C. Woods might have been onto something in Nuremberg, right? I don't support a lot of government violence as like law enforcement, right? I don't support the death penalty, for instance. But I do support an unlimited amount of violence in self-defense. And I'll say that 10 toes down, all right? Defend yourself and defend, your and when it comes to people that are the architects of something like the Holocaust, right? We learned from Hitler that putting a dude in jail wasn't enough. We learned from Trump that putting a dude in jail wasn't enough. Sometimes, chat, you need to hand them a firearm and give them the chance to solve the problem themselves. And if they don't solve the problem, chat, then we take a very short rope. And we give that to them instead. And that's what John C. Woods did. John C. Woods did not have a limit on how far he was willing to go against the architects of the Holocaust, right? And I believe that that's justified not as punishment, not even as a, what a disincentive, not even just to as a deterrent, right? But as self-defense. If you've got somebody that's shown the propensity to engineer a genocide, you're not safe sharing the earth with that person, all right? And I'm questioning, chat, right now whether we're safe sharing the earth with this person. But anyway, I'll leave that up to you.
Leverage power against me. Just that simple.
I'm not sure what you want to say.
Hey, it is what it is.
All right. Pause. You've been voted out by the majority. Please return to your seats.
It's a pleasure to meet you, sir.
I can't say the same, but thank you. Good to meet you, man.
Good to meet you, sir. All right. So I kind of want to start at the basics or the foundation. I want to see.
Can I just check?
Yes.
Are you a fascist?
No.
Okay.
I don't. I describe myself as, I think, just a Christian.
Fair enough.
I'm a devout Christian.
Good to hear.
I'm just a theocratic fascist. That's all.
I want to start what is your connection to the Constitution, and why do you love it so much? What makes it so important that Trump would defy something like the Constitution to you personally?
Great questions. My first connection is I'm an American citizen. I naturalized American citizen, took a pledge to this country, to the Constitution. As a previous speaker has said, Constitution's not perfect. A lot of things I don't like about it. I like the Second Amendment. There's various amendments. I don't like the way the Senate is set up. I'm sure there's things you don't like about the Constitution. The difference is, I don't think you can just illegally defy the Constitution. I think each and every one of us can make up whatever we want. Certainly presidents who are elected with an oath, right? Donald Trump took an oath to preserve, protect, defend the Constitution. And now when he's asked on television, isn't it your job to uphold the Constitution? He said on NBC, I don't know, which goes against his oath. And
President Trump was asked by NBC if everyone, including those in the country illegally, is entitled to due process under the Fifth Amendment. Trump responded, I don't know.
Identifying specific amendments where he is violating. He's only 6 months into his presidency, defying the First Amendment, the Fourth Amendment, the Fifth Amendment, the 14th Amendment. He wants to defy the 22nd Amendment and be president for a third term. This is the problem we have right now. Free speech is under assault. The free press is under assault. Due process is under assault. The right to be in your home and not be invaded by federal agents, the Fourth Amendment, is under assault. So that, for me, is a problem.
Okay. Well, I'd like to start to say I really don't find the Constitution that important. I find it to be like a 300-year-old document. And it was created to defy the country that subjugated your ancestors in India. And then your parents probably moved from India to Britain. And then you move here to tell us that we should listen to a piece of paper that you were never even connected to begin with. So I want to say, like, if I don't care about it, why do you care about it so much?
How do you run a country without any kind of laws or due process? And by the way, you do care about it, because without the First Amendment, you wouldn't be sitting here.
Well, I agree with the First Amendment, and I think.
So do you agree with Donald Trump's crackdown on the First Amendment? He's imprisoning people for their speech. He's threatening free speech media organizations. He's threatening peaceable assembly. These are all rights under the First Amendment. Why aren't you bothered by that as a conservative who claims to love the First Amendment?
So I don't like the First Amendment. I like free speech.
Okay,
so
the First Amendment is what guarantees free speech. I'm from the UK, by the way. I'm from the UK, which is a democracy. We don't have the First Amendment. No, that's one of the things I do like about the Constitution. I wish the UK did have a First Amendment.
So people
I'm a
get
journalist.
arrested for praying outside abortion clinics and stuff like that, right?
So you're opposed to people being arrested for speech crimes, I assume.
Well, it depends what it is. If it's
the Constitution isn't important because it's 300 years old, but we do need to follow the Bible. Yeah, no, that one's good. Well, you got to understand, Bivon, God, came down for each of the people that wrote down verses of the Bible. God grabbed their arm and forced them to write just like the exact way that it was actually God that wrote the Bible. And how do we know that? Because the Bible says so. Even though I don't think I've ever seen where it says so. Is there a verse in the Bible that is like the other thing about the Bible is so they weren't verses, or they weren't books of the Bible to begin. There wasn't a Bible. There were scrolls. No. Before there was scrolls, there was oral history. There was oral tradition, and the tradition was to recite this stuff, right? So you would, that was how it was remembered. It is that people would commit it. So somebody would say it to them. They would commit it to memory. Then they'd say it to the next generation. Right? And then eventually they got written down in scrolls. Some of the scrolls were canonized. Some of the scrolls were looked at and said, no, this isn't going to be in the Bible, right? It was like a political process to decide what makes the cut and what does not, what is now considered apocryphal, what in, some other, branches of Christianity consider, have more book, like Catholicism, for instance, has more books. There's a dragon. That's what makes Catholicism so cool. There's an actual dragon in the Bible. So, but yeah. The belief of theocratic fascists like this is that every word of the Bible was divinely inspired, and so the reason that it's important is that it wasn't written by man; it was written by God. All right. And it's again a self, it's a self-justifying thing. It's a circular logic. How do we know the Bible's true? Because it says it's divinely inspired. How do we know it's divinely inspired? Because it says so in the Bible. It just, wasn't intended for lay people to read. Yeah, originally it definitely wasn't. But for a long time, a telephone game? I mean, a little bit, yeah. People are not worried about the First Amendment because their speech isn't threatened. I'm not so much saying that there was a good Bible at one point and then it got corrupted because people played the telephone game and things got changed. I'm just saying that these were just oral traditions, right? And then they got transcribed into scrolls and canonized and then read by people that couldn't even imagine the lives of the people that wrote that stuff down, couldn't even imagine the, what that history was like. And then they interpret it, for instance, spare the child, spoil the rod. Have you heard that one? A lot of conservative Americans, a lot of theocratic fascists interpret spare the rod, spoil the child as meaning not only is corporal punishment violence against children, compulsory coercive violence against children, not only is that okay, it's necessary. And if you're not beating your kids, then you're not a good parent, right? That's what you spare the rod. No, use the rod, hit your kid, right? That's what they interpret the Bible as saying. In reality, chat, the rod that they're talking about, if you actually care about history, right, and the actual traditions of sheep herders in the area, right, that rod was never used to strike a child. It was never used for punishment. That rod was to beat wolves, all right? Spare the rod, spoil the child. If you don't drive off the wolf, your child might be eaten. That's what they were saying. It wasn't about corporal punishment at all. It was about beating up wolves that were trying to eat your sheep and your kids. That's what spare the rod, spoil the child was about. But you ask any of these motherfuckers, and they're so sure that it justifies beating their children, which they'll be like, no, it's spanking. It's good for the child. It's different than the beating the child. Beating the child is an uncontrolled, this is a very controlled dispersal of violence against your children, right? But this kind of parenting is what creates conservatives in the first place. The fact that people are acting like that, the fact that people still, use violence against their fucking kids to try to get them to do what they want them to do is the whole reason that the conservative mindset can exist. Schofield Bible was funded by Zionist oilmen and was a fraud. I've never heard of that. These people sound like they'd be at home in a theocratic country. Also contradicted by Jesus himself in the New Testament, saying better a millstone were around the neck than they who hurt the least of these, points to the children. Yeah.
It's like the people... so you're like one of the previous speakers. You don't. No. As long as it's someone who agrees with you, you don't mind the crackdown.
No. I support.
Either we consistently support principles, or we
free
don't.
Speech 100%.
Okay.
I don't think anyone.
So, do you think Donald Trump is defying the Constitution by cracking down on the First Amendment?
So I think he's cracking down on free speech, like the deportation of Mahmoud Khalil, who was
just released from prison by a judge, saying his First Amendment rights were violated.
And I agree with the judge, and I disagree with Trump deporting him. But I think that's more a matter of free speech and not.
Oh wait, they don't like that. They don't like him. Yeah, sorry, you're a lib.
The Constitution.
They're gonna vote you out.
I think
that was libbed up, chat. That was libbed up. How dare you? How dare you, sir?
Pedantry at this moment. I think you've conceded that he is cracking down on free speech, which is the First Amendment. So he is defying the Constitution. So it's a pleasure to be in agreement with you, sir.
All right, pause. You've been voted out by the majority. Please return to your seat.
Thank you very much. Okay, how's it going? I'm Medhi.
Medhi. Great to meet you. My name is Kai. Do you, Medhi, believe that the Constitution is important and good?
Overall, yes.
Do you believe that that Constitution can be eroded through democratic processes?
What do you mean by erode?
The original intention of the Constitution being destroyed through a purely, democratic or legal process.
I'm not sure I agree with that.
Okay.
I think if you're democratically amending the Constitution per the rules of the Constitution, that's fine. If we could find a constitutional way to get rid of the Second Amendment, I'd be pro that.
So let's pose a hypothetical wherein the entire population of the United States has drastically changed.
Yes.
And the population now has completely different intentions about what to do with the country. Let's say it wants to give it all back to Mexico, dismantling the United States of America. If that's the case,
give the territories that were taken from Mexico back? Is that what we're talking about? Because it's not the whole United States. Have you ever heard of the Louisiana Purchase? Have you ever heard of the 13 colonies? That wasn't taken from Mexico. Like, what? I just don't know how ignorant some of these people are.
Then what's the use of the Constitution? It hasn't defended the country. In fact, it's allowed for its destruction.
I don't understand it.
I would agree with him, but for completely different reasons. I don't think that the Constitution has proven to be any sort of defense against tyranny. But probably for completely different reasons as this guy,
The premise, how did the whole country change?
Demographic replacement, mass migration.
The Great Replacement. Can you imagine Goofy saying the 14 words? That's this guy. Well, Mickey, we must defend the white children's right. Like, I don't remember what it actually is, right? But this is Goofy doing 1488. This is Goofy doing fucking.
I mean, we're seeing a change in demographics, and there's
what is the. I do want to talk about immigration today.
I don't want to talk about it.
Everyone's itching in this group to get to immigration.
Yes, sir.
I've saved it. I've saved it for you all. But given we're on the sense of the Constitution, and you asked the question, what is the proportion of immigrants in this country? What proportion of the population is foreign-born?
It's very difficult to measure because the actual projections of the number have been changing more rapidly.
But what is currently? The best estimate of official
I think it was about 15%.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just under 15%.
Which is, by the way, more actually than the original estimate was.
Oh crap! So, chat. How do we get to 3 hours? Yeah, we just had another butterfly goal.
15% of the people are going to change the country, change the Constitution. How's that going to work? It's actually a nightmare. As someone who wants to amend the Constitution and get rid of things like the ridiculous way the Senate is set up, or the Second Amendment on guns, or various other things, it's really hard to change the Constitution. They made it almost impossible. You know, last time we had a constitutional amendment?
You know
like
what?
20, 30 years ago.
I understand, which is why
I think members of Congress pay.
Which is why.
No, I
get it.
So where are you getting this scenario where 350 odd million people all become foreign-born migrants or the children of migrants, immediate migrants, even though America is a nation of migrants?
Yeah.
And then abandons the Constitution and gives the country back to Mexico. Outside of your imagination, where is that happening?
Let's bring it back to the actual discussion. What you did is you entertain my hypothetical, but then instead of sticking to the point of the Constitution, you said, well, how would you bring about your hypothetical? And then when
you missed out the part where the Constitution is quite hard to change.
Hold on. I understand that. I gave you.
I also wanted to get a sense of where you are, and you're a great replacement guy. So that's fine.
Okay. Yeah, and you're a real good journalist because you don't talk to people who identify as like a political ideology. I mean, that's a very liberal idea.
I don't debate fascists. I'll talk to them, but I won't debate them.
Frankly, that's upsetting. I think there's a big problem when we value freedom of speech so much, but any real journalist is not going to talk to somebody because they identify with the politically incorrect ideology.
Just talk to the guy in front of you. What are you talking about?
You literally stop talking to him, and then everybody had to vote
debating versus talking is very different.
Okay.
It's pointless.
Okay.
He doesn't believe in free speech.
Okay.
He doesn't believe in democracy.
He was freely speaking with you. You're the one
who
who shut up.
No, he said very clearly.
Okay.
He said, I support free speech so that I can get one election.
For the record, chat, the people that shut that guy up were his own cohort, right? So they raised the red flags. It wasn't Medhi has no ability, right? These people come on and they can talk for 15 minutes. If the people in the room like what they're saying, they will have a conversation with Medhi Hassan for 15 minutes, right? It's only when they raise the flag that gets, shortened.
After one election, my guy comes in, and after my guy comes in, nobody gets to speak or vote again.
We all listen to your
Why would I
conversation.
debate that?
We listen to your conversation. Let's
I'm
bring
reminding
it
you
back
what
to
it
this
said
topic.
because you just
Let's bring it back to the
misrepresented.
Constitution.
Please do. First, fourth,
Medhi brings this guy back again. What, to talk about immigration, I'm guessing?
14th Amendment.
Yeah, how many of these people have just, completely, have just, brought up another subject entirely?
Those are the ones I'm saying Trump is defying. Do you support that or do you deny them?
I believe that the Constitution is valuable because it represents particular interests of the founding stock of Americans who made this country.
Founding stock.
Great.
Do you think due process is important? Some would say that's at the very core of American Constitution.
And
Fifth Amendment.
And what I think makes the Constitution function, what allows it to save this country and to actually make it work, are the people who are...
I'm not sure where you're going with this argument.
Hold on. I'll show you.
Is Trump defying the Constitution? That's my claim. You can have these weird hypotheticals
We're taking it into a different manner, which is what's the function of the Constitution?
I'd rather not have your...
You already did.
Yeah, but now I
just
don't
5
want
minutes
to.
ago when you took it to the immigration
Now I don't
panel.
want to.
Okay. Let's bring it back.
I want to bring it back to the First, the Fourth, the Fifth, and the 14th Amendments, and the 22nd Amendments.
Look,
either you say
hold
on, you got two very good positions here. One is to say I don't think he's defying them, and I'll say why you're wrong. Or you say I don't care that he's defying them, as one of your colleagues said. In which case, I don't know where this conversation goes because you don't believe in democracy.
That's fair. Do you think it's wrong to dismantle the Constitution?
So there's two options ahead of you.
No,
Do you agree?
This is important.
Do you agree?
So
is Donald Trump... Okay, let me ask a question about it. You're asking me questions. You're not answering the basic point.
Well,
do you think Donald Trump is dismantling the Constitution? Can we agree that Donald Trump is dismantling? Because I'll agree with you on that. I think he is dismantling the Constitution.
I think he's
illegally, unconstitutionally,
I think he's interpreting it in ways that are more...
Which judges do not agree with him on.
Okay,
Which the Supreme Court has not agreed with him on.
And the judges don't agree with the people who wrote the Constitution.
How do you know that?
Okay, let's take your example of the Second Amendment. Let's say that a bunch of judges...
I didn't give the Second Amendment.
No,
I said
hold on.
Fourth. You don't want to talk about the ones I've given.
You're interrupting me. You're interrupting me.
You're ignoring me. First, Fourth, Fifth, 14th, 22nd Amendments. Those are my amendments that I came with today. If you don't want to debate them, just say so.
I'm trying to understand your ideology. You believe that dismantling the Constitution
won't
is
talk about the
okay
first,
when it's
fourth,
about parts
fifth,
of the Constitution
14th,
that you disagree
22nd
with.
Amendments.
You would be fine getting rid of the Second Amendment, even though that would be a dismantling of the Constitution.
No, because it would
Your
be done
problem-
via constitutional means. I'm not the one sitting here like your pal.
okay.
Chat, this guy low key looks like a younger President Sunday with a chin. You know what I mean? This is like
You have agreed. You have agreed the
I'm
Constitution.
Not the one saying you just get rid of them willy-nilly.
All
I
right,
don't
now
agree.
We're ramping up.
I don't agree that Joe Biden should come in and say by executive order.
Yes.
If Joe Biden put out executive order saying Second Amendment no longer applies, I can round up everyone's guns. I don't agree with that.
Your result is exactly
I don't
the
agree
same.
with them. No, but I don't agree with the method of doing it. It's unconstitutional.
That's fine.
He would have been defying the
That's
Constitution,
fine,
and I would have said so. But you can't bring yourself to say so.
Do you see it?
We've been sitting here for several minutes. All of your friends have seen me ask you several times. Do you agree that Donald Trump is defying the First, Fourth, Fifth, 14th, and possibly 22nd Amendments? Your colleague at least admitted
I understand,
that he's defying the First Amendment.
I understand that you
won't
came
do it.
in here. What you are attempting to do is simply frame this conversation like you did with the first claim about Donald Trump. But then when anybody asks you any kind of question that presses you to the least degree
No,
about,
I answered. I said I would dismantle the Constitution, but I'll do it constitutionally, not by executive order.
So what I'm trying to get to is to prove to everybody who's watching that what you care about is not the Constitution in what it represents or creates. You care about the Constitution only insofar as it allows you to achieve your political worldview. We agree on that.
No, I care about the Constitution
You agree with the
because I
Constitution.
don't think presidents should be fascist dictators and violate the Constitution. That's what I'm saying.
You care.
And he is different. I don't think the president should have the power to lock you and me up if we write an op-ed that he doesn't like.
That's
I
awesome.
don't
I agree.
think the president should be able to crack down on us if you and I decide to go protest
I agree with you.
outside his parade.
I agree with
don't think the president should be able to deprive you and I of due process or come into
I
our
agree with you.
homes without a warrant.
And I think,
well, let's end an agreement then.
All right, pause. You've been voted out.
I'm glad
It's
we
good
end
to
on
meet you.
agreement.
It's good to
meet you, Kat.
The sound always reminds me of Fallout New Vegas. Is it the sound like when you I'm trying to remember where the sound comes from. Is it when like an enemy dies or something? No fan of hers, but have you noticed Sunday and a couple of others are just dogging how awful Philosophy Tube's channel has gotten? I haven't really kept up with Philosophy Tube. I am aware that Sunday has a lot of critique for Abigail. But yeah, you're right. Sunday and some of his orbiters, I guess I'd say, have been going hard on Abigail Thorne. Was it ever since the Nietzsche? And the thing about Sunday, though, is that, like, okay, no, look, chat. Like I said, I haven't been keeping up. I can't render a judgment. I'm not gonna make a judgment about something that I'm just not up on enough to know. I haven't watched Sunday's content. I haven't watched Abigail's recent content. I will say, however, that there have been the longest running set of allegations against Sunday is that he gets obsessed with female creators and he goes too far with them, right? And it's not beating the allegations here, I guess, but yeah, for all I know, yeah, I mean, he might be right about, in his criticisms of Philosophy Tube. Also, Michael Burns, right? That's the other guy Sunday's going after right now. President Sunday has orbiters. Yeah, Brooks. Wait, who else? There's like one other orbiter at least, right? I mean, I feel like I'm insulting Brooks. For the record, chat, I've never seen anything objectionable about Brooks. I almost feel like sometimes Brooks is like the voice of Sunday's conscience. He's like the Jiminy Cricket I don't know, chat.
Hey, how are you? I'm Medhi.
Hi, I'm Jessica.
Nice to meet you.
How are you? So Trump is defying the 1st, 4th,
5th, and 14th, and maybe the 22nd soon.
Okay. So I want to focus on the 1st.
Okay.
God damn it,
and the
chat.
5th.
Okay.
I really liked this dish. This was like my favorite dish.
So you...
Aiko, yeah, I guess you'd have to call Aiko. She's not really doing it on her own anymore.
say that Trump is defying the First Amendment? Can you give me an example?
For example, he banned the Associated Press from attending White House events. A Trump-appointed judge said that was against the First Amendment. He's been cracking down on media organizations he doesn't like over their speech. If they say stuff he doesn't like, he, for example...
Cracking down how?
So, for example, he banned the Associated Press from attending White House events because they said...
go to the White House.
Yeah, Brixton, good point. Yeah, so when we talk about orbiters and those that they orbit, it's kind of defined as who has the most gravity, who has the most visibility, who has the most clout, right? So even if Sunday became enamored in Brooks's content, it would still, the center of gravity is on Sunday. Although he did restart his channel, so who knows? I don't even know where Sunday's new channel is at. Seeing how President Tonsilstone has talked about and interacted with women before, I'm not surprised that he also harasses them. That's just something that people have said. I haven't. I've noticed the pattern, but I haven't looked into, like, for instance, the not so erudite. She seems like a pretty bad person. She's standing strong with Destiny still. Yeah, I mean, not so erudite is, fairly reprehensible in and of her own. But I guess how long he kind of keeps it up. Then again, I mean, Tyler's not a woman, so, he's shown his propensity to obsess about content creators who are not women as well.
It's the Gulf of Mexico. That's not how it works. They were already at the White House. He deprived them of access, so he punished them for their speech.
But are they allowed to go to the press?
Which is why a judge he appointed, Trevor McFadden, said this was contrary to the First Amendment. A Trump-appointed judge. He's called MSNBC and CNN.
Are we still? Which question are we on, chat? Did we moved to the second question, didn't we? Donald Trump is defying the Constitution. Okay, yeah. And then the third one, immigrants overall are good for America. Fourth one, Donald Trump's plan for Gaza is ethnic cleansing.
CNN illegal. Media organizations are not ipso facto
But that's free speech.
illegal.
He can call them whatever they want.
Attacking the media?
Yeah, he can
by the
attack
president as the executive?
Yeah, he can
And
say whatever he wants. That's literally the First Amendment.
He can say whatever he wants.
Absolutely.
But the media can't say what they want.
They do.
But he's going after them. He's suing them. He's using lawsuits to crack down on the press.
They
Presidents
used
have not done that
lawsuits to
before.
give him 34 felonies that Hillary Clinton did.
No media gave him a lawsuit.
No, but people
Oh, we're
on the
talking about
Democratic
media.
side.
We don't talk about the Democrats.
Okay. So he can call them whatever he wants because that's the freedom of speech.
I really wish he would have dug in on this and taken her on that, because, like, she just said that people on the Democratic side gave him those charges, right? And this is a central lie of MAGA philosophy that needs to be debunked. The idea that Donald Trump's legal troubles are due to anything other than the actions of Donald Trump is something that needs to be pushed back on, right? Because they've literally said, and like, when look at with so many things, right? With the way that they view January 6th, they're worried about, is a protest movement maybe responsible for destruction of property or theft of property that happens in the wake of the protest, right? That's the question that the right wing has posed, right? Has tried to assert that, yeah, that's the protesters doing it. It's not just random people that are there at the same time, like, doing it. No, that's the protesters' fault. That's the protesters' intent, right? In terms of, like, property crimes. But when we're talking about violent crimes against law enforcement, somehow that they get a little wishy-washy. Well, the Democrats did steal the election, so it's wild.
He threatened to imprison reporters.
He absolutely.
He wants to imprison. He said reporters should go to prison for reporting. He threatened some of them with prison.
President Trump suggested jailing reporters who publish classified or other sensitive information if they refuse to disclose their source.
Rape, right? That is against the First Amendment.
Okay.
I feel like he's talked about more than just that. I feel like he's done, like, I mean, that's one thing of like, charging journalists with, spreading.
He's threatened to imprison reporters.
He absolutely.
He wants to imprison. He said
publish classified or other sensitive information. So yeah, this would preclude the Pentagon Papers from ever having been released, right? There's yeah, I mean, like, this would throw a lot of people in jail. who published classified information when it was in the public interest to know. And I feel like Trump's gone beyond just threatening to jail reporters who publish classified information. I think there's been, obviously there's been lawsuits against those companies, but I feel like there's also been like legal criminal threats against.
Reporters should go to prison for reporting. He threatened some of them with prison rape, right? That is against the First Amendment.
Wait, he threatened someone with prison rape? When was that, chat? When did he make a drop the soap joke or something? I actually don't know what Medhi's talking about here. Asking how banning the Associated Press is against the First Amendment.
Okay. How is that against the First Amendment?
You don't think sending reporters to prison for reporting that he does that?
Did he do that?
He wanted to. He said so.
Okay,
I would like them to go.
I would really like to.
So other people stopped him doesn't mean he's not defying the Constitution.
So he
also said if you turn up...
Excuse me. He can want to do something.
Yes.
That doesn't mean he will or he can.
Okay.
And I think he's very
Well, I've already
aware
given an
of
example of something he did do to the Associated Press, but okay.
Yeah, okay, so the Associated Press isn't allowed in the Oval Office, which is his office, that's his executive space.
Okay.
And they are allowed in the press room, just like CNN, just like The Guardian.
Which he thinks are illegal media.
Sorry, it's supposed to be fake news, CNN. That's not, we don't just say CNN, we say fake news, CNN.
He can
He
think whatever he
calls
wants.
the media the enemies of the people.
You called him a fascist.
Yeah.
you can say whatever you want.
Yes.
Yes.
But the
and
president is. I'm not the President of the United States with the executive
so
power
now, okay,
to
so
crack
then
down
the
on the
First
media.
Amendment only applies to the citizens, but not the president.
I never said
of the
that.
United
In
States.
fact, Donald
so
Trump
then
runs
he
his
can
mouth
say-
more than anyone.
Absolutely, he
Yeah.
does.
And he
He
doesn't
is-
just
he
say
is-
stuff. As I said, he actually does stuff. He actually does crack down. For example, you Fifth Amendment.
Yes.
Due process.
Yes.
Judges have actually said you have violated due process.
Yes,
of
except
people on trial.
for people kind of forget the Clinton, the 1996 Immigration Reform Act,
Yeah.
where you can get limited due process when you have expedited.
American citizens?
No.
What about American citizens?
Who's getting deported? That's American.
2 American children have been deported multiple this year. Have you not been-
No. Their parents have been deported, and their parents say,
No, the
"I'm
father
going
was
to take
American.
my baby."
No.
Was mom legal?
We don't know because they didn't go to court, and the judge.
They
by
don't
the way,
have to go to
by the-
court.
yes.
That's not a part of the due process.
Are you a lawyer?
I'm very aware of
Are
it.
you a lawyer?
Do I have to be? Oh, we're making an argument
Are you a
now
lawyer?
we're making
It's a simple question.
No.
Are you a lawyer?
Okay, we're making an
I'll
argument.
take that as a no. A Trump-appointed judge in the case, not some Marxist lefty judges you
I
people like
don't
to call
care.
them. A Trump-appointed conservative judge said you cannot, it is illegal and unconstitutional to expel or deport an American citizen without meaningful process. He said that in April. So that was an act that Trump did. It wasn't
the
speech.
child-
He got rid of an American citizen from the country without process.
So the
That's the
child-
Fifth Amendment violation.
Since I'm not up to date on that specific
I'll give you
case,
more.
I'm sure you can. So
Well, you weren't aware that American citizens are being deported. It's a pretty big story.
Yeah, the
Maybe if
child
you
that
read the
probably
fake
went
news, you might know.
what?
If you read the fake news, you might know what's going on. A lot of American
How would I
citizens
know what's
have
going
been
on if I
deported.
read fake news? I don't watch CNN or Rachel Maddow. Sorry,
That's why you don't know that your fellow citizens have been deported this year.
my fellow citizens.
Are they
no.
not American citizens haven't been deported?
Okay, when a child goes with their
Wait, did she actually run out the clock? Is she the winner, chat? Is she the winner?
All right, guys, that's time. Please return.
That's actually time. I think she's the only person. Am I right, chat? Is she the only person that's gone the distance? That's kind of wild. Because, like, there was not anything really exceptional about her, it's not like she was doing really well. She wasn't getting, like, crushed like some of the people were, which I think is what happens. I think that the red flags come out when they're worried that this exchange is going to make them look bad, right? I think that's how they're using the red flags, basically to stop the bleeding. And since she wasn't, there just wasn't as, as much of an engagement, I guess, between Medhi and this woman. So, yeah.
Nice to meet you.
Hey, before we go any further, we want to take a moment to say
Okay, so before we go any further, chat, I want to check up and look at what time it is, because I've been streaming for entirely too long. I'm willing to go a little bit later, like as much as like 6 hours if we hit the bonus goal. I'm not sure whether that's going to happen or not today. Let me go check and see what the poll is doing currently. But yeah, I've gotta somehow I've been doing like 8 or 9 hour days, and apparently that takes it the fuck out of me. I don't mean to be taking as many days off, but I've just like overexerted myself time and time again. So I gotta cut it off at some point, and it's gonna happen like earlier. Sometimes I try to go a little longer to see if the we do hit the bonus goal. But and we're fairly close today. Willie Mack versus Bad Empanada still in first place. Second place is now Francesca Talks Epstein on the Majority Report. Legal Mindset Allegation Response, that's Legal Mindset responding to Alex Novell's allegations against him, is in third place, and Richie Torres versus Zoran Mamdani is in fourth. I have not logged anyone, putting their, donation towards a certain, one of these topics, right? Which you can do when you donate, whether it's through Super Chat, Super Sticker, you get yourself a membership, if you gift a membership, if you sign up for my Patreon, or if you support me on Throne, or if you support me over on Twitch, you can, even through a Twitch Prime sub, you can let me know which of these topics you want to see, and I'll add it to the right up there. Otherwise, it just sits at 0,000 and doesn't really go anywhere. So I'm just reminding people that you can do that when you support the stream with your donos. And let's see, where exactly are we at here? Looks like we're kind of done with, okay, there's 4 segments, there's 4 questions. The other thing is I want to try to start not watching all of any content, right? So if you remember from the Ethan Klein thing, there's 4 standards, or wait, what is it? 4 something. 4 aspects of fair use. Okay. So the 4 factors of fair use, which means if you ever get charged with infringing somebody's copyright, and you can render a fair use defense, right? And whether or not it's accepted goes by these 4 standards: purpose and character of the use. Did you use it educationally? Did you commentate over it? Is it for commercial purposes? 2 is the nature of the work itself. Is the work primarily factual or creative? If it's creative, there's less of a standard for that, right? So you can't watch movies and react to them, or listen to music and react to that, right? Using factual, news articles, scholarly books, or the news itself, right? You're more protected there. Using songs and novels and movies, you're not as protected. 3 is amount or substantiality of the portion used. So this is the part, right, where so the first 2 I'm doing pretty good at, right? I always react a lot to anything that I watch. That's not a problem. I don't, tend to react to a creative work, but more so like a, news article, news broadcast, or a YouTube commentary video or something like that. So I'm okay on that. Amount or substantial, I always want to cover everything, like cover a complete, whatever is out, whatever the work is, right? I always try to cover the whole thing. And that is for several reasons. I don't want people to come back and say that I cherry picked, and that there was like another section of the work that if I'd watched that, I wouldn't have been able to support the opinion that I rendered. So there's reasons that I try to include the whole thing. I also worry that maybe there's something that I missed, right? Sometimes with Ethan's crash out, oh my God, like there's this one that I didn't really show you. Here, let me show you this right now. I want to show you what I'm talking about, all right? Okay, so that's interesting right there. That's Ethan Klein's numbers for YouTube and Instagram. He's down on all of his channels are down on all of his platforms, while Hassan is up. Remember, the content nuke was supposed to kill Hassan's career and, I don't know, make a career for Ethan. It kind of has had the opposite effect. All right, so this is something that I missed from. God damn it! Where is the from Ethan's stream? Like, I don't know. Like, it feels like 2 years ago at this point, right? I completely missed this one thing that Ethan said. Let me see if I've got it in bookmarks. Oh, here we go.
Let's say that.
So this is what I mean. You know, especially with Ethan, because he just goes on and on and on in his hatred for Hassan, in his you know, coping about people saying that he's wrong on Israel Palestine. He just goes on and on and on. So there's bound to be stuff that I missed. Like, here's an example of something that I completely missed from. This was the Monday, I think, after October 7th.
Let's say the Native Americans, they come to your neighborhood and they just start burning people alive, killing people, kidnapping kids, desecrating bodies. And the first take is, you know, I support the Native American revenge. I support Native American militia. I support Native Americans. It's like, what? Let's say the Native Americans, they come to your neighborhood and they just start burning people alive.
Yeah. We need to get into that at some point.
Any persons born or naturalized in the United States are citizens of the United States.
I'm aware of that.
There's about 40 to 50 million Americans in this country.
Yes, but
You didn't seem aware of it because you said Americans versus immigrants.
So, but are you understanding that the process of getting all these immigrants that come in here we've been also, the millions of immigrants, it's up to the millions, it's the last 20 years now, and it has dramatically affected Americans here in the country, which
Positively, I would argue.
people like me and everyone around here, we cannot find homes or even get jobs within our own fields that we go to college for, that we get into debt for. And because...
So you're getting fucked over by capitalism, right? You're not getting paid enough, even though you're building more value for your employer, right? You're contributing more to your employer's profits, but you're not getting cut in for those increased profits, right? So you're getting fucked over on that side, and then you're paying too much for the products that you need to support your life, right? So you're getting fucked over by, let's see, capitalists and, oh yeah, capitalists. But the solution is fuck the immigrants. Am I right, chat? That's what she's come up with. It's definitely the immigrants' fault. It's not. I'm not getting paid enough by my boss. I'm getting charged too much at the store, especially the grocery store. And chat, it's literally to pad the pockets of the capitalists, right? They raised, you know, there was some inflationary pressure during the pandemic, right? But they raised their prices over what the market demanded, what their bottom line demanded, and they have been making record profits. A lot of businesses have been making record profits, right? But no, go ahead and blame the immigrant, I guess.
More blue collar work, especially in construction.
Oh wait, is the pink shirt guy the guy that debated Sam? I don't think we've seen pink shirt guy yet. We'll make sure to watch him.
Agriculture and so forth, and the hospitality industry, we cannot get jobs in those fields.
Oh yeah, super ironic. Just vibing. 420 points out that Jubilee ostensibly wants to open up debates, but copyright strikes React content. I found that pretty. In fact, if you go back, chat, a few years ago, there's a video of the people that the head honchos at Jubilee talking about how they want streamers to react to their content, and it's just like, I don't know what happened. All I noticed, chat, is that as soon as because I have covered Jubilee, you know, videos without any incident before. I've covered them with no problems, right? And then I criticized them for one of their debates with Blair White, where I noticed that they were bringing in people with media training on the right-wing side, and they were bringing in like just regular people on the left-wing side. So what you had is essentially ringers, right? If I set up a pickup basketball game, or not even pickup basketball game, but like a basketball game, like an informal amateur basketball game, and I was like, yeah, yo, you bring your friends, I'll bring my friends, all right? And my friends are like LeBron, right? That's not going to be a fair match. And I'm comparing Blair White to LeBron. God, sorry, I didn't mean to do that, but what I mean is that, like, so anyway, I felt like they were trying to kind of put their finger on the scale towards the right, and that criticism, ever since then, I've had nothing but trouble trying to react to Jubilee.
So it requires
Are you looking
us.
for a job in construction?
I am
or
not.
agriculture?
No, I went
Just
to
joking.
college.
Okay.
Many people here are in college or went to college, but we can't even find jobs in our fields. Also because of the H-1B visa program as well. But in regards to just your claim about immigrants specifically, we cannot even get jobs to pay for housing.
Unemployment is at a record low right now, even under Donald Trump. And I'm not a Donald Trump fan, but I would say unemployment under both Biden and Trump has been at record low levels.
Yeah, but the jobs that we have are shit, and the unemployment rate constantly, and this is going back for years and years and years, undercounts things like people not having sufficient employment, or people who have left the job search because of inability to find a job.
Okay, is this in regards for American citizens?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I'm unaware of that statistic, but from what I see, from what I can
I'm an immigrant and an American, and I employ many American citizens,
and
both naturalized and the ones born here.
And
I employ
my
Americans.
parents came
Americans as defined by you.
My parents came as immigrants to become naturalized, so I'm not necessarily opposed
Oh, wow.
to immigrants.
So you're the child of immigrants.
Correct. I'm a child of immigrants. I was
But
born
you don't
here.
accept that immigrants are...
No one has ever seen Blair White and LeBron in the same room at the same time, says Charlie Kelly. Yeah, no, this is making me isn't that Jink's argument against trans participation in sports? Right? Like, so LeBron James can come in and say, I'm a woman, I self-identify, and then we're supposed to let him play in the WNBA? Like, right, that's his argument, is trans LeBron. I feel like, no, wait, did he even say, maybe, I feel like somehow he didn't say LeBron. Did he say somebody like more old school? Did he say like Scottie Pippen or something? I feel like pink hair guy is behind him. Have we seen that guy yet? He's got the backwards baseball cap that lets you know he's cool.
Americans.
Not at this moment.
So your
because-
parents are not Americans?
Not at this moment.
So hold
no,
on, your parents
they're
are not Americans?
citizens. They became naturalized.
You just said you can't be citizens by being naturalized.
No, I was born here, and I'm not
Yeah,
opposed
you're born
to
here, right?
naturalization. I
But
never
are your
said that I'm
parents-
against naturalization.
Are you against naturalization?
No, I never said I was against
You did.
naturalization.
You began. You're very. Everyone is here. They can play it back on YouTube.
Wait, they don't like what she, like, I'm sorry, is she, it sounds like the room does not agree with her. Unemployment rate is also only people who are getting unemployment benefits, oftentimes, and that doesn't last long. Yeah. Majority of unemployed people just don't count. They don't want to count. They don't want you to demand full employment, which the government can, and at various times in our history has provided, right? They don't want that to happen because they need unemployed people to suffer in order to incentivize people to work for, frankly, not enough money and not good enough benefits, right? They need you to see people suffering on the streets to keep you, scared enough to be a, malleable, manipulatable labor pool.
You said Americans or immigrants. Are your parents Americans or immigrants?
No, my parents are United States citizens.
But they're immigrants, you said.
No, they came here as immigrants. However, but
So
I
they
want
are
to make the
immigrants.
claim
You
that
said,
we cannot
I came
even...
here as an immigrant. I'm an
But
immigrant.
at this point, when they came, the
I
United,
think that
the
people
United
aren't
States
happy with the way
economy,
this is going for you.
the United States economy was not as...
I'm surprised they haven't pulled her yet.
It's better now. The American economy is better than it's been
Not
for
from
many
the-
years.
not from the
And I can say
statistics
that
I
as someone who
see.
doesn't like Donald Trump.
We're
Which
giving
statistics
millions
are you
and
seeing?
billions of dollars
Which
to
statistics
people
are you
of,
seeing?
minorities as well.
I want to actually say on one hand, I don't know. Like, I get what Medhi's saying, but it may not be a historically high unemployment rate. It is a historically tough time to survive in the United States because of the issues that I just listed. It's not just, your It's not just yeah, I mean, like the first thing would be, your pay rate. The fact that the minimum wage hasn't gone up. It's at 7.25 in some places, right? And hasn't gone up for decades. And certainly the median wage has flatlined since the 70s, right? People cannot survive on 70s level wages, and that's what we're being forced to do. I actually do think that there are some problems with the economy, some fundamental problems that they're not for fucking, they're not showing up on the stats necessarily that you're looking at, but they are very real. And this is why Kamala Harris lost in 2024. She and Biden wanted to say, look, the economy's better than it's been doing in a long time, Jack. Look at that. What are you sad about? What are you upset about? The problem was they didn't have that connection to people on the ground actually in the workforce trying to make ends meet. And the fact that it's actually quite hard right now. The rents have gone way up. Yeah.
Well as
the reason the economy is doing badly now is because Donald Trump's tariff policy. Nothing to do with migrants. In fact, the congressional.
We can't even start businesses.
I'm an immigrant. I started a business.
I understand because the SBA is giving people billions of loans.
I didn't take any loans.
They're giving them billions.
I didn't take any loans.
I'm not saying you did, but I'm saying that statistically speaking, they're giving billions of loans.
So should we do statistics? According to statistics, immigrants are 80% more likely to be entrepreneurs than native-born Americans.
Sure,
They're more
absolutely.
likely to start businesses.
No, I'm aware of that.
I hate when people cite the unemployment rate and assume it's valid. Yeah, that's why I always try to bring in a few things. In fact, I talked about during the election, I talked about the misery index, right? Which is a very old school, not often talked about anymore. I guess it became really relevant in the 70s during the stagflation crisis. And yeah, when we're having, not just inflation, but price gouging and, a very fucked up housing market going on, I think that and even the misery index, I think, is insufficient, right? I don't think the misery index is trying to capture inflation and unemployment. And I still think that it misses a lot of the actual misery being experienced by people.
Hire Americans.
No, I'm aware of that.
Immigrants are more likely to pay in taxes than take out in benefits. They're more likely to add to innovation and jobs and wages. This is what the statistics show. The Congressional Budget Office. Let me just finish my point and let you come back in. The Congressional Budget Office, which is bipartisan, Republicans and Democrats both use it. They have said that the immigration surge that you mentioned will lead to an extra $9 trillion of GDP over the next 10 years. That amounts to $65,000 per American household. That's $65,000 for each and every one of you holding up a red flag.
Yeah, that's what I was saying, Miku. The misery index, because it's it's partially based on the unemployment rate. That's why it leaves out a ton of people. And there's more to, misery than just the unemployment rate and the rate of inflation, right? And specific markets that are really like housing, right? It doesn't measure the effect of the overpricing of basic housing on people's lives.
Okay, I understand.
All right,
that, but...
pause. You've been voted out by the majority. Please return to your seat.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Thank you.
Hey, how's it going? I'm Medhi.
Healthcare too, says George Jackson. Yeah, we're going to be seeing a lot more of the effect of increased price of healthcare. In fact, we're already seeing that. I think if you're, if your coverage falls under the, Obamacare rubric, you're going to see the rise in healthcare cost right away. If you're, covered by Medicaid, you'll start to see that in 2026. Yeah, you're going to see...
What's going on, man? Nice to meet you. All right, so first, before I start, I need to know what you mean by...
That's the pink shirt guy? This is the guy people were talking about, right?
Good. I can talk about the economy, I can talk about culture, I can talk about all those things. I need to know what you mean.
All of them. I'm saying immigrants are good for the economy. They're good for culture.
Lower wages are
they're
good
good
for the
for society. Where's the lower wages?
What do you mean, where's the lower wages?
Where's the lower wages?
Yeah, so you can
What's
look
the
at
basis for saying no lower wages?
Sure, so you can look at like the STEM industry. It's been in like a complete and total recession. There's been tons of studies.
The STEM industry? It's not an industry, dog. That's like a science, technology, engineering, mathematics, right? It's like a field of. It's like an umbrella term. I don't know what the STEM industry. What the fuck does this guy think the STEM industry is?
like from the Economic Policy Institute that shows that like companies like Tesla, companies from like Silicon Valley, they engaged in mass firing of workers, around 35,000, but then they hired around 12,000 H-1B visas, and it's kind of just standard economic thinking.
It's not standard economic thinking. The vast majority of economists and economic studies suggest that there is a negligible, if no impact.
And also, you shouldn't be wanting to go for standard economic theory because most of these economists are capitalists, right?
On wages over time for immigrants. In fact, your colleague mentioned earlier, construction, there is actually evidence in construction, yes. But in some...
Yeah, he's trying to say tech. He's trying to say, yeah, Silicon Valley, basically. That's what he means. Tech, startups, shit like that.
Industries, in some areas, there is an impact. But overall, no. In fact, a study from the National Bureau of Economic Research found that migrants since 1965 have raised wages.
Who's that? I'm not going to see the Iranian Zionists defend murdering Palestinian babies? Oh my god.
Innovation.
Who's that by? Well, look, Chad, if you want me to, I can put that on... Maybe I could put that in a bonus topic for tomorrow.
National Bureau for Economic Research.
No, hold on. That's where you publish studies. I'm asking
yes, I didn't memorize the names of the authors.
Yeah, I know you didn't. Right?
Can you give me the authors you've got?
Yeah, hold on. The study you're talking about is from Giovanni Perry, and what he did is he didn't account for aggregation issues, nor did
the vast majority of studies.
Let me speak,
please.
Yeah, thank you. Right.
Yeah, I'm sure you got something great to say.
So listen, he didn't account for aggregation issues, right? And when you look at like the spatial approach, which is what all these economists use, you're not accounting for the fact that when immigrants come into an area, natives leave. If you look at an occupational approach, where you look at the specific firms that immigration is going into, like Kim, ETAL 2013 did, you find a net negative impact when there's a 10% increase of immigration. You find around a 0.5% decline in wages when it comes to the specific occupations they're going to.
So
I love it. You got the right idea by trying to get your wage up, but you're targeting the wrong thing. The person controlling your low wage is your boss. All right? And you're too much of a coward to fight the real boss. Your boss.
So 0.5%, weigh that up against what I just mentioned from the Congressional Budget Office, which is a massive boost in GDP per head, which you're not counting for, massive increase in tax revenue, immigrants actually funding the deficits and debts by paying way more in taxes proportionally to the undocumented immigrants. And what's interesting about wages is, I'm in a room full of, I don't know what to call you anymore, conservatives, Republicans, fascists, I don't know.
Groypers.
One of you has proudly said that.
Call us correct.
One of us proudly. Oh yeah, correct. I'm in a room full of correct people, but do any of you actually care about wages? Because for example,
I actually do.
For example, do you support raising the minimum wage?
People. You can't do that when you're bringing all these people coming into
That's
your
not
country.
the reason the
Yes,
Republican
it
Party.
is.
You can. It's a law. The minimum wage is a law. The minimum wage is not like, what does he think the minimum wage is? This guy thinks that it's like the lowest wage anybody's paying. Right? You can't change the minimum wage when you have immigration? Bullshit.
He blocks the minimum wage. You think Republican politicians don't vote for an increase in minimum wage because they're worried about immigration?
Did I say I voted Republican? Did I say I voted Republican?
Well, I'm in a show that was called 25 Far-Right Republicans.
That doesn't mean I'm going to support every single Republican candidate.
So you and I, let's agree. We both support raising the minimum wage. Yes,
100%.
$7.25 since 2009. It's lost 30% of its value. If you care about wages, we should be raising the minimum wage in this country, not scapegoating migrants who aren't the cause of low wages in the country. You know who's causing low wages? Billionaires, millionaires. And people who won't pay fair wages to their wages, regardless of whether you are an immigrant.
And the government for not passing a fucking minimum wage for decades and decades.
I get the monologue right now. Let me respond.
You had one. With your one study that had 0.5% impact. Go.
Yeah, and your study sucked that you didn't even know who wrote it, right? So let's get back to the point,
because I don't need
and
to
there
know
it
one
goes
study.
again.
The majority of studies say that wages are not impacted.
The majority of your studies are flawed. That's what I'm telling you.
My studies.
But you're not saying how they're flawed. You're just saying they're flawed because it's convenient for your argument. Therefore, I flick your pathetic little argument away like so many micropeens.
Neither of us are economists. It's the economist studies.
Don't assume who I am.
Are you an economist?
I could be.
But are you?
I could be.
Are you?
I'm not going to tell you.
Are you?
I'm going to major in economics, right?
Are you an economist?
No, not right now.
Okay, so when I said neither is economist, I was correct.
Just don't assume.
To use your favorite word.
See here, dude, this is nothing of substance. You look at the red flags; they're coming up. Let me get to the point.
That's great, but
so
you're
when
not
you
an
talk about
economist.
when you talk about the CBO, one thing you're not accounting for here is that they're assuming an equilibrium, right? Do you know what that means? You shouldn't make these type of assumptions. You said earlier that unemployment.
Do I know what it means? I thought we were not doing assumptions.
Okay, hold on. You mentioned we were like.
I think what he's saying is that we all know he thinks that when you cut taxes, on the wealthy that the economy does better, right? I think, is that what he's saying? Like, I hear Republicans make this argument with the CBO all the time, right? Is that they feel like it's unfair to say the big beautiful bill is going to is going to increase deficits by $3 to $4 trillion because they're not accounting for the economic stimulus. It's going to start raining down upon all of us, right? Reagan proved this was true, right? Didn't Reagan lowered people's taxes, and that caused the the job creators to create more jobs? No, it didn't. No, it didn't. It's been debunked. In fact, it was never bunked to begin with. George Bush, George H.W. Bush, George CIA Bush himself made fun of Reagan's, trickle-down economics because it's just so obviously bullshit.
At like 4.2% unemployment. Yeah, that's counting people who have part-time jobs. That's counting poverty wages. Yeah,
I'm against poverty wages.
Good point. Even minimum wages only apply to able-bodied citizens. There are still a lot of states where disabled people make 30% of minimum wage. Prisoners make like the firefighters in LA, for instance.
Yeah. Yes. If you go to like the local.
I mean, and actually, they're probably getting some of the higher wages amongst people. In prison, right? But there's still those wages. What was it? What did we determine? It was like $7 to $15 a day or something like that for, was it 12-hour days?
Calculated in a way where it's like functional unemployment.
Okay. That's a fire alarm, but it just stopped. I think we're okay.
Okay, if you account for things like just people who make around $25,000 a year, people who have fallen out of the labor market, people who only work part-time, if you count all of those people together and then add on the unemployment, that's around 25% of the population. So when you go, we don't have jobs, we don't have people to do this, and that, and the other. No, yes, we do. Okay, we don't have a labor shortage. We have a good job shortage. And when you keep bringing these people in, and they're taking those jobs.
The good job shortage is the fault of big firms, employers. I'm an employer, I can say that.
Who hires the immigrants?
Who hires the immigrants?
Yeah.
Employers.
Exactly. So when you bring up these big firms,
okay, so
that's the way that keeps wages down. You understand that, right?
So let me ask you a question. If you got rid of all immigrants coming in tomorrow, moratorium, you think...
I mean, like, his prescription, he's saying some things that are true that Medhi should have probably mentioned because, and in general, like, you don't hear this shit enough from Democrats. But at the same time, like, his prescription of like making it illegal to bring in H-1B visa workers, right, would just move those industries to other countries, right? He thinks that somehow, in some cases, the reason Americans aren't getting those jobs is because we don't have the educational system to produce people to be able to do those jobs, right? So there we go. There's another thing that Trump is fucking up completely, education. Normal prison wage is like 10 to 75 cents per hour. Yeah, it's absolutely ridiculous.
You think that Republicans and employers of big firms will suddenly raise all the wages?
That's what you believe. Answer what I said.
That's what you believe.
It was a complete.
That's what you believe.
You pivoted the hell away from the conversation.
Is that what you? I'm on the subject. Okay? Do you believe that when...
Are your ankles okay? Oh, because you pivoted. Wouldn't it be more of a concern with the knees? I don't know, Chad.
Wages. I'm just wondering how naive you are. You believe that the 1% will raise wages in the federal wage if we stop immigration.
They will be forced to. When you increase labor's relationship to capital, okay, and you give labor more bargaining power because you're tightening the supply of labor.
This is a very simplistic understanding of economics because you're...
explain I'm wrong.
I'm telling you how you're wrong. Because you're ignoring the fact that when immigrants come into an area, they spend money. They create jobs.
About 1/5 of their monthly income leaves the country.
That's a good thing also because you don't like USA foreign aid. So this is the point. They create jobs. I came into this country. So far, every one of my assumptions about you has been correct. But listen to me. I am an immigrant. I'm speaking from personal experience.
Get the hell out.
I don't even like... I should get that.
That's why people wanted me to watch Pink Shirt Guy.
Hell out.
Yes.
Why?
I don't want you here.
Why?
Because you come here and say all this bullshit about how Americans are lazy.
Why?
You push your left-wing
I never
politics.
said Americans are lazy.
I don't know why you say this.
I never said Americans
yes,
are lazy.
you are.
The only person
You're saying
attacking
immigrants
people
have
is
to come
you.
into this country so they can do jobs that we don't want to do.
I
That's
never said
exactly
those
what you
words.
said.
When did I say it?
Oh, really?
When did I say it?
So why?
This guy needs to get down. And I want to see him go to work in a slaughterhouse. I want to see him put in 10 hours a day at a slaughterhouse, okay? I want to see this guy out in the fields making those quotas, picking fruits and vegetables. Because he says that you know, being pro-immigrant is saying that Americans are lazy. That saying that these are jobs that Americans won't do and can't do is accusing Americans. Prove to me that Americans are not lazy and get your ass down to the farm. All right, because mommy wants some asparagus. All right, and that asparagus is not going to harvest itself, sir. So prove to me that Americans aren't lazy. And oh my God, this guy's fucking ridiculous. Wow. And then he's just like, get out. He literally said, get out. Bro said, get out.
YouTube. Guys watching on YouTube, rewind to the time where I said immigrants are doing jobs we don't want to do. When did I say those words? When did that came out of my mouth?
Okay, so why do we have to bring in immigrants to the country if we have people who are going to do the jobs?
Pause. You've been voted out.
I mean, the fact is we don't have people that are going to do some very important jobs. We don't invest enough in education to, you know, have people that are competent for other jobs. And
nice talking to you. Nice talking to you. You're gonna have to go, bro, is what he said as I left, to an American citizen. Good to know where you stand on immigration. It's not about immigration, is it?
I feel like you're going to want to go. And I feel like the rest of us are going to want to go. Look, Trump shutting down the border in the beginning is maybe about keeping people out of the country. All right. By the end of what Trump does to this country, it is going to be shutting down the border is going to be keeping Americans from leaving. All right. Shit's going to get worse and worse for us. You're getting a little sense of this now in the UK with some of the moves that they made to isolate themselves and how, you know, difficult, how much more difficult it's becoming in the UK to make ends meet, right? And these are the same assholes that were like, these Eastern Europeans are coming. Okay, they didn't talk like that. They were like, these Eastern Europeans are coming in and taking all jobs. I do say, we must get these immigrants out of here. Nigel Farage, but yeah, now they're wishing that you know, the Polish workers would come back.
What it's not about. Hey, how you doing?
Nice to meet you.
Good to see you. How are you?
Not bad. So, what type of immigrants are we talking about?
Oh, wow. Wait, chat. I'm sorry. Are we watching the Holy Mountain here? What's going on? Did we just enter into cinema?
Like any immigrants or
immigrants? That's what I said. Immigrants
are illegal
overall.
immigrants.
Undocumented immigrants also contribute greatly to the U.S. I say undocumented. I don't think people are illegal.
So, let's put it this way. I mean, I'm an immigrant too, from Iran.
Okay.
There isn't even
How
a
do you
U.S.
feel about the fact that people here want you out? Are you okay with that?
I'm here to debate you, not debate them.
I mean, you're all on the same side. You're part of one group.
No.
You've been clapping each other.
No, I mean, there are conservatives here, there are far-right people here, there are Republicans
But how
here.
do you feel about that guy wanting me and you to leave?
But, you know, let's
I'm just
stick-
wondering. Wait, this is the topic of immigration.
It's not
how do
about
you feel about the
it's
guy?
not about my feelings towards them.
Okay.
It's about staying on this topic.
Okay.
And
Immigrants
talk
are good for America, yeah. You and me, we're good for America. And the guy over there wants us to leave. So I'm just wondering how you feel about that.
So I believe that there has to be strict immigration laws.
Okay.
We have to make sure that the people are coming here have the good intent of the United States in mind.
That's not my claim, but okay.
So
my claim is about immigrants are net positive.
If you just open our borders to every single person
No one
that wants to
calls
be
for
here,
open
you know, that claims that they have economical hardship in their country.
Who's calling for open borders?
No, I'm just saying, you know.
Or are you just a straw man? So you're just saying a straw man.
No, I'm saying
You're
that
wasting
if
time with a straw man. No one's calling for open borders. I
Okay,
didn't call for open
well, you
borders. I
wasted
said
time.
immigrants who.
You wasted time trying to cause division between me and my friend
Division.
over
He
here.
wants you to leave the country. That's a pretty big deal.
All right.
I mean, you can ignore
Like
it,
you
but that's
said-
your side, my friend.
Like I said,
You
you were
made
the
your
one
bet.
that tried to derail this argument
Derail?
by bringing that.
It's
Even
literally
though we're
core to my
trying to-
argument. I'm saying immigrants are good to America. People on your
And
side
I
are
asked
saying
you, what
we
type
should
of-
leave. Not me.
And
me and
I
you.
asked you, what type of immigrants are we talking about? Are we
Immigrants
talking about
overall.
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 So,
I mean,
so,
we're not gonna,
so
you,
you
want to
believe,
you want me to get into like particular communities? I'm not playing that
so
game.
you believe that people that come here without
Overall,
any
help
respect,
the society.
without any respect to our laws and our border, are going to be good for this country?
No, of course not.
So you can't say that all immigrants overall.
I never said all immigrants.
Well,
I said
you
immigrants overall. Immigrants overall doesn't mean all immigrants. Sorry to break that to you.
All right, so we have to make sure that the people are coming here have the good intent of this country in mind. Agreed?
Yes.
All right,
Irrelevant
good.
to my claim,
But
but
when you
agreed.
have undocumented immigration going on,
Yeah.
you can't vet that. You can't make sure about that. Let me real quick, talk about my background. There's no the American embassy in Iran. So in order to come here, you have to stay in line for 4 years, and you have to go through some serious vetting procedure to get here.
I'm sure he doesn't mean stay in line for. He's not talking about being in line literally for 4 years, but yeah, 4 years of I don't know, processing a request or something.
But I made it, and that process has to be in place because you don't want terrorists
But I'm-
to
hold on,
fill this
I made
country.
it.
Did you ever consider that the reason that there are so many undocumented people in this country is because of ridiculous 4-year wait times? Is because there's no pathway to citizenship. Did you ever consider that if we actually fixed immigration, but no, this is the guy that's like, listen, I got here as a freshman and I got hazed after class, all right? And so even though I didn't think it was right for me to get hazed, I actually got a black eye from the hazing and, got kind of fucked up and, right? But because I got hazed, because I had to wait 4 years to get in, you need to wait 4 years to get in. We can't fix immigration. We can't hire sufficient, judges for things like asylum claims when there are more asylum claims going on. And we can't make a pathway to citizenship because, God damn it, I didn't have one. I got mistreated, and so you should be mistreated, and you should be mistreated, and you should be mistreated.
Too, I'm an American citizen. I went through lots of vetting. I took my test.
And that's how
the guy
it
over
should
there
be.
wants us to leave.
But
he wants us to leave.
When people
So people don't really care about vetting, do they?
But
it's not really about vetting, is it, my
But
friend?
people should not have
You're in
the
denial.
right. People should not have the right to ignore our borders and our laws.
What about those
to
of us who
come
don't
here.
ignore the borders? Should we get to stay?
Of course.
But he says we shouldn't.
Well, I'm not debating him.
You kind of are because you're all together on this.
No, I'm debating you.
Okay. And I'm pointing out to you that your argument is in bad faith because these guys are actually speaking the truth and you're in denial about who's on your side. He wants you gone.
I never claimed that.
They just voted him out. They said you lose.
They're on my side. I'm here to debate you.
All right, pause.
Yeah, they're definitely not on your side, bro. They're definitely not. They voted you out super quick. And you didn't even do that bad compared to the rest of them.
You've been voted out by the majority. Please return.
You've been voted out by the majority. Yeah, he's about to be voted out in real life too if he's not. Like, are you gonna feel good about supporting this side of things when they fucking denaturalize your ass?
Nice to meet you. Hey, how you doing? I'm Medhi. Nice to meet you.
The question is, immigration is good for America, right?
Overall. If you look at the
Guy looking like Guido Sarducci. Yo, here's what I saw, chat. When I saw this guy, I don't know if this is I don't know if this is this is what it reminded me of. Anybody seen this movie? He'll be back. They're bringing him back. Well, I don't know, chat. Are we gonna be back? That's the question. We're still at 77 out of 100. I wanted to give it a little bit more time to see if we could hit the bonus goal. It doesn't look like that's gonna happen today. Yeah, this is 5 hours. God damn it! I said I was gonna try to do 3-hour streams and then maybe 4 to 6 hour streams if we hit the bonus goal. But I'm doing so bad on that. It's not Manos. It is not Manos. Good guess though, Daymal. This is actually the Holy Mountain. It's on your watch list, yeah. I need to like rewatch it actually. Sorry, chat. This is for anybody that doesn't know. This is the Holy Mountain. A truly strange movie. I'm trying to remember. Does it start off with the frogs reenacting like a war, and then there's like 1,000 plastic Jesuses, and then
the net positives to things like our society, our culture, our food, our economy, our general diversity. I know the D word is a bad word in places like this. I think immigrants have been a net positive. I think if you look at your everyday lives, we all benefit from immigration.
And what kind of conservatives disagree with that?
Some of the guys who told
oh my god,
me to leave this place and go back to
wait.
I'm a citizen.
Do you think all conservatives?
No.
Oh.
No, in fact, Ronald Reagan, who's a president I wasn't a big fan of until Donald Trump came along. Now people like Reagan look good in comparison. Reagan said in 1986 our country is a nation of immigrants.
Doesn't he have the David Martinez haircut going?
Our immigrant heritage is our strength. He gave an amnesty to 3 million undocumented migrants. He understood the value of immigration. So I'm with Reagan.
Yeah,
Although
I'm
this
with
guy's putting his thumb down there. So Reagan's not popular in right-wing crowds these days.
Yeah. Well, he's popular with me.
Good too.
I'm a deferred action.
Good for you. Oh no.
Actually, I was an illegal immigrant myself. I came here when I was 10.
Wait, he's a dreamer?
I'm what you would call a legal alien now. I didn't have any say on my parents' choices.
Yes.
Do I think that they were well-meaning by wanting to bring me over for?
Ooh, did you see that symbol on his neck, chat? I feel like I've seen that somewhere before, and it's not good. I'm not quite placing it. Anybody place that symbol on the back of his neck?
A better future? Absolutely. I believe that.
Yeah.
Did they break the law? Yes. Do I agree with people breaking the law?
Oh, you can't see it because of the freaking...
Do I think that there's ever a situation where you can break the law for the better or the greater good? Immigration is it's an interesting issue because I do agree with you that...
Oh my god, chat, I forgot to shout out Patreon. I was so far behind, I totally forgot to do... Anyway, I'll shout him out. I'll shout you out on the way out at Patreon. Sorry about that.
Everyone is an immigrant in the sense. Can you tell me a little bit more about your journey?
I've been here 10 years. I'm a proud American citizen. I'm a dual national. I'm British. I'm American. And I am an immigrant who's contributing to this country. So, yes, I'm very much proud of America's immigrant heritage. I'm part of it. And despite what one of the other people said on this show earlier, everyone here, unless you're Native American.
They fucking kicked him because he was too agreeable? Because he wasn't telling Medhi Hassan to get out? Or because he's not white? What do you think, chat? What do you think's the reason that they kick? That's record time. That's record time for kicking a dude off. Let's just watch this whole movie instead of the Jubilee. I wish, chat. I wish we could watch Holy Mountain. Although I think it is a Chilean film. You know what? We can't watch it on Discord either because there's some, there's nudity. There's, yeah, it kind of seems like it's.
All right, pause. Sorry, you've been voted out. Please return to your seat.
Thank you, man.
Nice to meet you.
How's it going?
The whole thing, I feel like the whole run for the chair thing is played out. I'm always worried that people are gonna bash their heads into each other and somebody's gonna start bleeding on the floor. When it's kind of funny when nobody else makes a run for it, like how silly you look. Is it Argentinian? I don't remember. It's either that or Italian, maybe.
Sorry, you've been voted out. Please return to your seat.
Thank you, man.
Nice to meet you.
How's it going?
Hey, how's it?
Oh my god. Well, I won't be judgmental of that man's run because I'm not a reactionary. But yeah.
How's it going?
Actually, a fan. I see you a lot on Piers Morgan.
There's going to be another. Is Cat Turd going to bring this up and be like, "Hey, look at this! Look at this libtard getting fucking destroyed by this based conservative," and somebody has to tell him, "No, Cat Turd, Medhi's the liberal. Medhi's the liberal." the guy that you called liberal is actually the conservative.
Okay, thank you for watching.
Yeah. So my argument is that Americans are what is a nation? A nation is a geographical location full of people who have some things in common. So I think some of the things typically in history are going to be like race, religion, ethnicity, language.
Why don't they just use buzzers? They must have calculated that this is like, I don't know, more interesting.
These are some of the things that we have to have in common in order to actually have a functioning civilization.
Wait, did he say he was a fan? Oh God, yeah, he will get voted out.
Especially in self-government. I'm not necessarily a giant fan of self-government. I'm a Catholic nationalist. I'm not a fascist. You have to have at least some things in common in order to
Agreed.
actually have a civilization. And the immigrants, especially illegal immigrants that come into this country now, disrespect us. They hate everything that we believe. They don't even speak our language. I watched, after Trump got elected, I watched an interview of an illegal alien woman crying and about getting deported, and the entire interview was in Spanish. That is a spit in the face. It's disrespect. They don't care about us. They abuse our system.
So you've gone from a teleological argument into just a bunch of series of wild, unsubstantiated
Well, I'm asking
claims.
you, what is
I don't accept any of those claims.
Okay,
They
what's
hate
the point of
everything
a
we
country?
stand for, and I don't accept. Well, I'm not going to deal with the teleology. I'm going to deal with the false claims that you
Okay,
made.
go ahead.
There's no What's your basis for saying that all immigrants or all undocumented immigrants hate everything we stand for? It's funny that you said you're a Catholic nationalist. How did most Catholics get to America? Irish Catholics, Italian Catholics. Immigration.
Mm-hmm.
Much of the people coming across the southern border are
Conquest.
Catholics.
Yeah, I know. I don't.
So it's really
not-
funny that you say you're a Catholic
Is there-
nationalist, but Catholics came to America.
No, they reinvented Catholicism, right? If you're, Mexican and Catholic, or you no longer count, I guess.
By immigration.
Yeah, so there's...
So immigration is good for America. You and I can agree. Otherwise, people of your faith wouldn't be here.
No. Well, we were here on this side of the world, in this continent.
As the French? As the Spanish?
Conquest. We came over here and
But the big surges of numbers,
Okay.
as you well know, because you're a smart guy,
Yeah.
Italian, Irish immigration waves, Catholic immigration waves.
Okay.
Wait, I don't think it wasn't it like the Huguenot? Were the Huguenots some kind of Protestants? I'm trying to remember the French, like the French settlers, like what their backgrounds were. I was thinking Catholic at first. Now I'm not so sure.
Yeah, and I'm not
Are
even
you
claiming.
against those?
I'm not even
Were you
claiming.
against those if you were
Well,
alive
I'm
then?
not even claiming that
Because a lot of
immigration
people
is
were
bad.
against those.
I'm not claiming immigration is bad in all cases at all times.
What is your claim?
My claim is that immigration, especially now, and especially for foreign people that have nothing in common with us,
It's funny that you
is-
say it's
is a
especially
negative.
My theory, chat, is that they've adopted Catholicism because it's older, and therefore it's considered more hardcore. Like, right? It's like this weird thing. Like, I'm surprised they didn't choose Mormon or something, well, because that wouldn't be older. But you know what I mean? It like I think they just were picking one that they just sounded more strict or more, like. And it's kind of, I think they kind of fucked up in picking Catholicism, but now they're trying to, retcon it more with Catholicism prior to the Vatican II.
thing.
I forgot your name. My apologies.
Brian.
Brian.
Yeah, how many
in
people-
every era there has been a Brian who's
French or Catholic for the most part. That's what I was saying too. But I'm trying to remember the particular French that came to the that would have been exploring and settling in North America prior to the Louisiana Purchase.
who says, I'm not against immigration, just immigration now.
Okay.
This is what people said about Italians, it's what people said
That's
about Irish
unfortunate,
folks,
sorry.
said about Russians, Poles, and now we're saying about
Yeah, why
people coming
should I
across the
care about
southern border. Because you're not being, you're
Why
being a
are-
little disingenuous saying
Okay.
I'm only against immigrants now. This is a trope.
that disingenuous?
This is because it's a trope that's been used by nativists throughout American history.
No.
And every wave of immigrants has come in and faced the same hate and animus and bigotry and lazy trope. And every wave of immigration is ultimately
Well, I think-
assimilated, integrated,
Here,
benefited the
let me
country. In
make
fact,
a-
assimilation right now, according to Jacob Victor from the University of Washington,
Okay.
assimilation rates based on language and citizenship and naturalization are higher now than 100 years.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah, the French Huguenots were Protestant. That's why I said at first I was like, yeah, he was like Catholics came to this country actually before, and I'm trying to figure out what he's talking about. I'm like, do you mean as the Spanish? Do you mean as the French? Like, what do you mean like Catholics? Yeah, this is what I'm saying, chat. Somehow Catholics worldwide they need to do a little. I hate to tell a religion I'm not even a part of what to do, but they need to do a little bit of gatekeeping, right? Otherwise, your religion is about to get fucked up, and you're not going to recognize it in 30 years. All right, you got to make it really clear that these people are not like you. All right, and they're not. They're not. This is bastardized Catholicism. Not to say anything. You can convince your sins on Sunday, and you're all good. The Pope from the JFK era was in the OSS, which is the predecessor to the CIA.
Years ago.
Okay, let me make a statement first. I think that you in
You
your
ignored
own
my statement, but
you in your own person are a complete perfect example of why immigration is negative and why we shouldn't allow people who don't have anything in common with us. You're pro-abortion, you're pro-euthanasia, you're pro.
I'm
you're
pro-euthanasia.
Yeah, you went. I've seen your stuff. You've defended euthanasia.
Pro-euthanasia.
Yeah, on Piers Morgan.
No, I've never discussed euthanasia with Piers Morgan in my life.
Okay, so my point is that you don't agree.
Actually,
with
I'm the guy
founders of
here.
this country.
If anyone watching at home, I'm the only guy here who actually supports American values, democracy, free speech, the Constitution. I've got folks here telling me they don't believe in democracy, that they're nationalists.
Wait, why should we care about that? By the way,
Isn't that what America stands for? What does America stand for? So you hate.
Yeah, that's right. Bring back excommunication.
Stands for, not me.
I'm not even.
And in fact, all the studies show that immigrants actually are more patriotic.
So the only reason
They have no problem with pedos. That's what I'm saying. I'm not glazing up the Catholic Church here. They've got their own baggage for sure, which is why I feel like it's strange for them to adopt Catholicism as their weird, I don't even know, virtue signal. But also, the shit that's coming out of their mouth is not. These are not viewpoints held by the majorities of Catholic people, right?
The only reason why that's the Mexicans in LA right now burning it down, waving Mexican flags.
LA's being burned down?
Please don't send us back to the country that we're waving the flag of.
I've been in LA for a few days. I didn't see anything burned down.
Yeah, I know the
Where?
riots have ended. That's because Trump sent.
But if it's burned down,
it's because the. Oh my God! The soldiers that Trump sent that antagonized people that increased the level of anger that extended the protest, essentially, that fanned the fucking flames. He thinks that's what stopped it. Yeah, this is all you need for a narrative, chat. And Trump's been running this shit on us for goddamn near 10 years. All right, people need to get wise to this, and we need to find some like counters to this shit, right? Because you see how that just works, right? Like, and that's what Trump was thinking when he did that. He knew that sending in soldiers was going to make the situation more tense, more inflamed, potentially, produce, like antagonize people, produce more violence, more, destruction of property or whatever. And that B, that after the fact, he was going to be able to sell this whenever everything does die down. He's going to be able to take credit for it, like he always fucking does, right? Like he starts he joins Israel, he allows Israel to attack Iran, then joins in the war with Israel against Iran, and then takes credit for the peace of a war that never should have happened. We gotta get wise to this. Cannot keep letting them run these narratives.
Where's it all burned down? I haven't seen it. I've traveled around all of LA. You said LA was burned down. LA is 500 square miles. It's not a figure of speech, actually. It's another false claim of yours.
They're burning
I support euthanasia. LA's burned to the ground.
Bro, just
immigrants
listen,
hate what we stand for.
Okay, so
I'm super relaxed.
You're pro-abortion.
But you're just saying one false thing after another.
So you're pro-abortion,
and
right?
I'm standing by my position. Immigrants are good for
You're pro-abortion. You're an immigrant.
I'm pro Roe v. Wade.
Yeah,
personally, I'm not pro-abortion. If you knew anything about me, you know.
Roe v. Wade is.
All right, pause. You've been voted out.
I was going to say nice to meet you, Brian, but I guess not.
Nice to meet you, soy boy. Oh, come on. When's the Sam Cedar guy going to come up?
You made it.
Great to see you.
I need to pee too, chat, and I'm really scared to leave the... I don't want to leave the video playing.
My name is Cyrus.
Nice to meet you, Cyrus.
I am also son of 2 immigrants, came in legally. I'm also Persian descent.
Fantastic.
Born in LA.
Fantastic.
Yes.
Terangelis.
Yes. Well, I am mainly upset, not at the immigrants, legal or not. I'm mainly upset at Wall Street. I'm mainly upset at the elites, the special interests. They are the main reason why we've been having this issue since 1965. And most want to do well. There are a few bad apples, we can agree.
A few bad apples amongst the capitalists, yeah.
But Wait,
the Sam Cedar guy just left. Wait, what do you mean? What do you mean? Like, do we see him? Wait, that wasn't just the Sam Cedar guy, right? I mean, I guess there's been a few guys that... Sam Cedar never makes it. God damn it. They teased us by showing it. Oh, man.
We want to go after the elites. They are the main cause of the problem.
Love it.
And just like healthcare, trade, everything...
Did you know, Cyrus, that the top 1% dodge $163 billion in taxes every year?
Oh, wait, the time... Oh, okay. The time counter is actually for the whole segment. Oh my god, Chad, I didn't even understand how this works. Right? The time, they're not counting down like the maximum, I mean, technically it is the maximum time that a person can talk to Medhi, because if they don't get the red flags raised, then they'll just stay there until the subject, though. That's the time counter for the subject, I think.
Every year. Well, undocumented people pay $100 billion in tax. So I know where my anger is against.
There are issues with our tax system on the rich, but in a state like California, some taxes are too high. I used to live here, now I live in Las Vegas.
Different debate.
Okay.
I'm saying immigration is good for America.
Depends on the
people
taxes.
People like you and me overall are good for America, is what I'm saying.
And I gotta ask you... Oh no, fuck!
They shouldn't have been part. Dodge $163 billion in taxes every year. Well, undocumented people...
What I was trying to say is that... Like, look, he left LA, let's be real, all right? It wasn't because of the taxes. It was because of the cost. The cost of living is higher in LA. The cost of your apartment, the cost of housing is higher in LA, right? But he's going to identify that it's the taxes, right? Which is...
Pay $100 billion in tax. So I know where my anger is against.
There are issues with our tax system on the rich, but in a state like California, some taxes are too high. I used to live here, now I live in Las Vegas.
Different debate.
Okay.
I'm saying immigration is good for
Depends
America.
on the
people
taxes.
Like you and me overall are good for America, is what I'm saying.
Okay, but it depends on how it's done.
Yes.
It depends on how it's
and
done.
how it's being done
so
to the US.
I'm not blaming the housing crisis on immigrants, not on wages, but in a state like California that doesn't build enough homes and they're bringing immigrants in, you have to increase supply of housing.
I agree.
Okay,
I agree.
but this is where our anger is at the political...
Is he gonna bust out a abundance argument? But let me tell you, there's too much regulation in the state of California to be able to build more houses.
Class. The Democrat Party used to have a different stance on immigration 15 years ago. Bernie Sanders, Hillary Clinton.
I'm not a fan of that. I'm not here to defend different Democrats. What I will say is
that's our anger.
What I will say is that everyone here actually does think immigration is good for America. Everyone here uses an iPhone designed by an immigrant, is on Gmail designed by an immigrant, is
Hog.
He's on a YouTube show.
But
you all came to a YouTube show founded by an immigrant. You wouldn't be here.
But that's
if it
a
wasn't for
tiny
an immigrant.
minority.
So you all love immigrants, whether you like it or not.
Okay, but it is a taboo subject. Should we be concerned about the demographics? So,
no.
Anglo-Saxon, European American, 0% of America.
Anglo-Saxons.
It doesn't matter.
Are they 0% of America?
Well, let's say if it becomes 0%, it should not work.
They're not going to. Why are you bringing weird hypotheticals?
Well, but there has to. But I mean, they're still part of our country. There's culture. There's.
Yeah.
I mean, even Britain. Like,
I mean,
it
America's gone
concerns
through
me.
many
But
demographic
it
waves,
concerns me when Britain is changing,
Britain
and it's. You know, it's like
Britain's
they're
been
losing their
changing for
culture,
years.
but it's
Who said
losing
they're
their
losing their
culture.
culture? Who
Are
says
they?
that?
Are they going to try to?
I'm from the UK. I'm telling you, no one's losing their culture. in the UK.
London is going to be very little British in
Who
one
says
day.
so?
What's the plan? That's what we want to know. What's the
You
plan?
just made that up. Have you been
But
to London?
how do we know?
Cyrus, have you been to London?
No.
So then maybe you shouldn't comment on places you don't know anything about.
But what's the plan?
I grew up in London.
What's
London's
the
a very
general
British
plan?
city. I was in London a few weeks ago.
Okay.
It's a very British city.
I hope not. I understand that there are people in this audience that don't like me or you in this
Yeah,
country,
they want
and
us
I
to leave.
respect that. There's some that don't even want me to date a blonde woman.
And I respect that. Ooh.
And they want to keep to their own, or ginger or whatever. I respect that, but there has to be a deal
Respect the ginger supremacists?
made. There's Idaho, there's Montana. They can go live in a homogeneous society. I don't believe in force, okay? And I believe that there has to be a deal made. And I think there's upsides and downsides to
There's a
diversity.
deal made. People have elections.
I don't believe in force, but I'm talking like great replacement rhetoric. in order to like do pogroms against groups that I feel like are too, represent too much of the percentage of the population in London?
They vote for elections. And
what's the plan? As in, what's the solution? What's the solution to make London more Anglo-Saxon? But he just said,
I don't believe in force, okay?
My God. I don't believe in force, though. Just ethnic cleansing. That's all. I don't believe in force. Jesus fucking Christ, this guy. Pendulous Dragon, thank you for the dollars for the dancing ferret. That ferret is getting fed, but will it be enough, chat? Because we are swiftly running out of time. We're at 79 out of 100. Is this guy the cuckest cuck? I was about to say, Alice on fire. I was about to say.
And I believe that there has to be a deal made. And I think there's upsides and downsides to diversity.
There's a deal made. People have elections, they vote for elections, and right now, there's Donald Trump in the White House, not someone I support, but people voted for him.
Well, why did he get in, mainly? Because we had 2016,
Not sure we have time to get into that.
2016,
There's a lot
Bernie
of reasons he got in.
Sanders. Okay.
Part of the reason he got in is that people in this room want people like me and you to leave, and they voted for him to try and make that happen.
I'm not surprised. One of the Charlottesville marchers doesn't like me. And I've met those people. And I respect their views.
You really shouldn't.
Well, they're wants.
Don't respect racists and fascists, is my advice to you.
Well, they have their preferences. That's just, we can't change that.
Actually, we can. That's why I tried to come in today, but anyways.
All right, that's time. Please return to your seat.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you,
Great
Cyrus.
pleasure. Good.
My final claim is that Donald Trump's plan for...
Oh my God. All right, so... Wait, did we see the one dude? Oh, we saw the guy... We saw the guy that told him to get out, right? Oh, did we see this guy?
Are you kidding me?
Wow.
You know
the genocide guy?
Are you kidding me?
Wow.
You know the fact
I'm amazed that Jubilee find some of you guys. How did they find you?
Yes,
Being
they're
done by
trying
you.
to. They're actually
You know,
trying
he's
to
shutting down as being
genocide my
done by
entire
you.
race. So what are you talking about?
We watched this guy. You know what's funny is as the flag fills up, like we couldn't see it because I have the thing in the way. Wait, maybe you can't see it now. Oh God, it's so hard to see, chat. But that they have a little flag meter that fills up as more and more people raise the red flag, and it starts off with a completely white flag, and then the red kind of fills up below, so it turns into like a Polish flag, kind of halfway through. The Danzig hairline, yeah, big mother energy. Settler from the 1500s. It looks like we've seen most of the. Does he come back? Is this a little?
I'm in a room full of, I don't know what to call you anymore. Conservatives, Republicans, fascists. I don't know.
No. That's the. I think that's the trailer. Anyway, chat. I am trying to not stream as long necessarily. I still want to do the bonus content, and I want to make sure that we have enough time, at least an hour for bonus content would be nice. I guess it depends on what we end up selecting. It looks like we're 21 points away from it today, so I'm not sure if that'll happen. But I will give you the chance to keep me on as I'm exiting the door. If somebody if we do hit the bonus goal before the end of the what is this though? Okay, so they bring back our friend from the Holy Mountain. What is this segment though?
So while I can agree with you that there are cases that abuse the 14th Amendment, yes, even their citizens about Chinese shouldn't be citizens. That in the already a principle in America.
Okay, wait. So it's wait, where does the birthright citizenship thing come up? We should get rid of birthright citizenship.
Argument. This is the free speech debate camp. It's not your country, my friend. It's our country, whether you like it or not.
Medhi will now choose a far-right conservative to debate for 10 minutes. on a claim of their choosing. Okay, so that's where the
I thought Kai was. He smiled, he laughed, he disagreed. I felt like it was good faith. Let's see.
I appreciate it, Medhi.
He seemed to be in good faith. He seems kind of smart. And, he's one of the few people who doesn't want to deport me. Or maybe not. We're going to find out.
My claim is we should get rid of birthright citizenship.
Why do you want to get rid of birthright citizenship, and how, by the way? Because you know it's in the Constitution. I'm so glad you brought this up.
Yes.
Because it was one of my...
The 14th.
14th. I mentioned it to a bunch of your friends, and nobody wanted to engage in the 14th.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the 14th Amendment,
Exactly.
Citizenship Clause, which says that if you're born here, you're a citizen of the United States.
Yes. I chose this because it's an extension of the original debate and the immigration debate.
Okay.
I think birthright citizenship, first of all, when it was originally argued, among the people who were actually voting on the clause, right? It was argued that the birthright citizenship was not automatically extended to everybody who was just born here. And we have a long history of that as well, for example, with the Native Americans, who had particular laws that applied solely to them.
Yep.
What I think we're seeing in this country is not everybody is so similarly under the jurisdiction thereof of the United States, right? And by allowing for birthright citizenship and not interpreting the Constitution as we're legally allowed to and restrict, the automatic citizenship of anybody who's born here, we actually remove the issue, for example, of family separation, because there is no incentive of a family to come over to this country illegally and then have a child, which is contributing to the awful situation we have in America of breaking up families. This is not something that I imagine you or I agree with.
No.
The issue is birthright citizenship has incentivized that.
So even if I were to concede that in some cases birthright citizenship has incentivized that, I don't like the phrase anchor babies, but I'm not naive enough to pretend that there are not immigrants who come here.
Well, including a few of the members of this panel would be considered anchor babies by people that use that kind of rhetoric.
Yeah, and time the pregnancy in order to get. Of course, you and I can agree on that.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean you then rip up a constitutional principle that goes back centuries, goes back before the 14th Amendment. 14th Amendment came about, I think, in 1868, if memory serves me correctly. But the principle underlying it is actually from my other country, the UK, ancient English common law, right? So this was always the case. The 14th Amendment, as you know, because you seem well read, came along and codified what was already a principle in American and English law, that if you're born in the country, you are a citizen. Now, you mentioned the point about jurisdiction. There is that little bit in there where it says subject to the jurisdiction thereof. That, in the debate, if you go back and read the debate that the senators had at the time, they were very explicit that that was to do with foreign ministers and foreign ambassadors. Diplomats living in embassies, their kids shouldn't be citizens. Obviously, they're here on their own. The Argentine embassy in DC is Argentine soil. So we accept all that.
Absolutamente, amigo.
But when they were asked about Chinese immigrants, Senator Trumbull, who was, I think, the chair of the Judiciary Committee back in the 1860s during this debate, he said at the time, Chinese immigrants' children, they're citizens. In fact, 1898, as you well know, we get Wong Kim Ark, Supreme Court case, Wong Kim Ark versus the United States. And the Supreme Court says, yes, even the child of undocumented Chinese immigrants is an American citizen. So this is a principle going back centuries. So while I can agree with you that there are cases that abuse the 14th Amendment, that there are issues of family separation, I'm not going to rip up a constitutional principle that goes back centuries and is backed by a 127-year-old Supreme Court precedent because Donald Trump is looking for ways to cut the number of brown and black people in the United States.
If you don't mind me interrupting, this is where I think it's important as well to go back to what we talked about with the Constitution. When we're analyzing, and admittedly, I'm not as interested in the legal argument. There's obviously many ways to interpret the Constitution, but I don't think, especially among conservatives, that it is positive to use the Constitution to dismantle it. When we analyze the original context, like you were saying, in the late 19th century, our immigration law was absolutely different, including, in respect with the Irish and Chinese immigrants that were coming over. It was absolutely different.
We had open borders, my friend. Some people in this room would hate it. We had open borders for half of American history.
Well,
there's the saying, America had mostly free and open immigration in its early days, but started enacting restriction in the 1880s. Included the Immigration Act of 1882, which levied a tax on all new immigrants and blocked the entry of lunatics, convicts, and persons likely to become a public charge.
I don't think that's very true.
It's 100% true.
Well, hold on. if you're comparing the open borders, which I don't concede to, but if you're comparing the open borders prior to like 1910 and prior to the Hart-Celler Act, and you look at the amount of immigration and who was coming over.
Nice deflection. Amount is irrelevant. We did have an open
It is
border.
absolutely relevant.
Why?
Because the Constitution, like the founding
So
fathers.
your argument is we had open borders, but there were fewer immigrants.
I was about to answer. Okay. It's important to analyze the context wherein these laws and parts of the Constitution arise. The original founding fathers said the Constitution was made only for a moral and religious people and is wholly inadequate to the government of any other, which means the people that wrote this document understood that it would not be able to properly...
Super secular people, let's just be clear on that.
Oh, no, that's not true. They were deists.
A lot of them were super
No, the
secular.
majority were deists.
But they were secular. Secular doesn't mean atheist. You know what that means.
I understand that, but deist doesn't mean secular or atheist. It means they believe in a God, but not a God.
They were deists in some cases, and in most cases secular. They believed that their religious beliefs are immaterial. This is what fucking asshole conservatives always do. They'll be like, well, George Washington was a Christian. Thomas Jefferson was so Christian, he even wrote his own Bible. Yeah, and he struck all the supernatural events from the Bible because he didn't believe in that shit. That was his own Bible that he... But they'll try to appeal to the fact that most of these people consider themselves Christian, so therefore it's a Christian nation. They were Christians who believed in governing the country without favor to Christian people. Also, we shouldn't be appealing to the founding fathers like they were demigods, which is what we do in this country, right? You know, if you're a constitutionalist and you believe in that after the Constitution fucking gave us Trump, right? But if you still have faith in that, then you know you're gonna be citing the word, not the people who in a lot of cases were slave owning scumbags.
That's
I didn't say anything
particularly
about whether
present.
they're deists or theists. I said they're secular.
Okay, but secular
means you
and
separate church and state.
Okay, well, let's talk. We could even talk about that. That's a perfect example.
You're going to run out of your own time making your argument, which I haven't made so
I
far.
understand, but the separation of church and state is now completely differently understood than originally proposed. Thomas Jefferson, who talks about the wall of separation, which doesn't even exist in the Constitution, understood it in a different way.
Supreme Court precedent, as you well know.
Yeah, sure, but the precedent of the last 100 years, wherein the country has been completely different from its founding, should not overrule the original intent of the people who wrote the document that you and I are both citing.
Okay.
Which means,
but I'm not locked into what the people who wrote that. We've had amendments to the Constitution. You know that, right?
I understand that,
Okay.
and this is our fundamental disagreement:
Yes.
is that I don't believe.
You think you could read the minds of people in the 1770s?
That's not true.
And I'm stuck.
I just believe this country ought to be more like the country we originally had, and I don't
Great,
think
that's your opinion. You're entitled to it.
I understand that,
but there's a factual basis to it.
Well, let me try to see what you believe.
Okay.
If we are voting on these constitutional amendments, if we are interpreting them, and our interpretation becomes absolutely, let's say, a 180 from what the original intent of the authors of that document is, are you in favor of that?
I guess it depends on the issue.
Okay, I would say no matter what.
So, for example, take the Second Amendment, which we kind of danced around. It's not been but come up here and there.
Yeah.
You know the debate about the Second Amendment. The fundamental debate is one side says it's unlimited, and the other side says no. What they meant was the militias.
Yeah.
They didn't, and they had muskets. They didn't mean AR-15s, right? So we can have that endless debate, which I really don't care for about that. But to come back to your point about the constitutional principles, the 14th Amendment comes along in the 1860s. So it's pretty old. It's not as old as America.
Yeah.
But it comes along, and it's been around for 150 years. So if you want to get away with
it was around. It was around before 150 million Americans.
And I'm saying it was around before the United States was even created. It's part of ancient English common law. If you're born in a place, you're a citizen of that place, unless you're a child of a foreign diplomat or on a Native American reservation.
English common law did not exist simultaneously as millions
So
of
your
people
argument
coming
is because
across
of
the
numbers,
border in a
right?
year.
Just to get to principles, your argument is numbers change everything. Because we've got so many more people.
Not
we
solely,
change the
not
Constitution.
solely, but absolutely.
Okay.
The
Fair. That's
demographics
fair.
of your immigration
That's a fair
absolutely
position.
change it. Yeah.
Can I ask you a question? If you got rid of the 14th,
I love the fact that he's appealing to numbers, right? As in, the bulk number of immigrants is greater than it was in the 1800s versus percentage of the population, which if you're going to make the argument that he's trying to make should be your standard.
What would be in its place?
I think a citizenship test would be fantastic.
What age?
I wish.
What age?
I think we could administer it in high school.
To everyone?
Sure.
Or just the immigrants?
No, everybody.
And then if you fail it, you denaturalize white American.
Maybe you can't get a government job.
Denaturalize that dude?
I think there's plenty of benefits that the government
There will be no government jobs. What are you talking about? Trump's destroyed all that.
offers people that you should not be able to receive.
I'll
Yeah,
tell you
absolutely.
this, right? This might sound bad,
And I
don't think people care for me anyway. So let me say something you might not like.
Nobody would pass it.
If you have a high school immigration citizenship test for everyone,
I think people will take citizenship more seriously.
I'm guessing the immigrant kids are going to outperform the white kids, and you might actually end up denaturalizing some of the white kids, and then people here will be really upset.
And well, hold on. And I like to be consistent about this. That's possible. But what I think it would do is it would give everybody a larger sense of the importance of citizenship.
So you would say no one born in this country is a citizen? No one?
Automatically no. Automatically no.
Wow.
I think we could extend that. People who have a heritage in the country
what
of
are they until they pass the test? Undocumented?
I suppose, yeah. They are not able to receive government benefits. They're not able to receive government benefits. They're not able to apply for these jobs.
But their parents are citizens.
Okay, well, hold on. We're talking here about the way that we would implement it.
Yeah, it's pretty important. If you're trying to get rid of the 14th Amendment, I'm going to ask about the practicalities of it.
And we're not.
Trump's doing it right now.
And I'm not.
That's what the court is asking.
I'm going to be able to explain it to you in 10 minutes. But what I can't explain to you is that right now in this country we have a crisis of people not hold on. We're not understanding.
The thing is, they've never had to prove that there was a crisis. It was just taken for. Look, they're like, I believe that there are multiple crises, right? The climate crisis, the affordability crisis. There are definitely crises, but they're acting like immigration itself is a crisis, and they never fucking have to prove it. They never. It's just taken for granted. Oh yeah, I guess it's a crisis. There are a lot of immigrants. I guess it's a crisis. Did we fuck up Venezuela, and now people are trying to get out, and some of them wind up here? I guess it's a crisis. Not a crisis with our foreign policy, which created the crisis, but, a crisis with the victims of that foreign policy.
What citizenship is. The way that you've referred to citizenship makes everybody who hasn't come to the United States an undocumented American citizen until the time they come over here.
That's how a lot of countries are, right? You know that birthright citizenship is operated by multiple democracies around the world. I know Trump lies and says we're the only country that does it. He lies. That's not true. Multiple countries.
Do you think it ought to be that way? Do you think everybody in the world is an undocumented American?
Hold on. Well, or undocumented Canadian, or undocumented Brit, right? Or undocumented.
Sure. Well, I'm an American, so.
I'm sorry. 10 tones down. Yes. All right. This earth belongs to all of us in equal measure. Or it belongs to none of us. Choose your, Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Borders are fake. Nationality is fake. And when we come up against a real fucking crisis, which I would argue we already have with climate change, but certainly when we make first content, the fact that we're in these little fucking tribes that we call nations still is going to be a huge unforced error.
Say America, but yeah.
But I'm saying, right, the principle is you immigrate. We have free
movement.
Do you believe that? I support free movement of people around the world.
But do you believe they're all?
Are you Kim Jong-un? You think people should only stay in one country and never leave and be blocked from leaving their country?
I think
that's a very illiberal and conservative position.
I think there's a big
libertarian.
There's big room between being Kim Jong-un and saying that.
Not really.
Hold on.
In practical terms, if you accept,
I gave one side. I want to give the other. There's a big room to move between being Kim Jong-un and saying that everybody in the world is an American. They're just not on our soil yet. I think being an American
that's a ridiculous
citizen,
statement, right? Because everyone in the world is not heading for the United States.
Yes, yeah, but
in fact, right now,
in fact, some of us are headed in the opposite direction. Yeah.
But the idea that you are supporting is that the moment you come to this soil and that you're born here, you become an American. And
so I'm not saying at the moment you come to the soil, you become an American. I didn't. I had to do the test. Right?
Okay.
I had to do the naturalization process, which is guaranteed by the 14th Amendment. But the 14th Amendment also says if you're born here, then you automatically get it. And I'm not saying.
And I think the problem we have.
It's a hill I'm going to die on.
The problem we have is we don't appreciate citizenship. The problem is that when you talk about immigration like we did before,
agree on that.
when we talked about everything before, what were we talking about? We were talking about products. We weren't talking about...
Emily French says we had a guy locally who was taken, who was here from Chile, asylum from Pinochet government, taken by ICE, and is now in Guatemala.
Practices or perceptions, which is really what immigration is about.
Can I agree with you? We don't in this country value citizenship enough.
I agree.
I think we should encourage people to have more civics lessons in schools, understand American history and Constitution much more. Here's what the irony is. I'm sitting in a room today where I've met a bunch of people claiming to be Native Americans who hate everything America stood for centuries.
I think they stand much closer to the America that we originally had. And I think that's a big disagreement.
I don't think any of you lived there or had any clue what that was like.
But you've agreed to dismantling it.
About that
and you're not educated. You're anti-intellectual, so you wouldn't fucking know. You've rejected education. You've rejected any kind of material analysis. That's why you voted for Donald Trump, and he's destroying what's left of our educational system. Chat, with that,